Defining Duke is brought to you by Theragun. If there's one thing you need to know about myself and Lord Cognito, it's that we're team health is wealth. And so part of that is going to the gym, lifting some weights, going on a jog. But the more important aspect that a lot of people overlook is the recovery process. And Theragun has been a part of my recovery process for well over a year now. Whether you're a trained athlete or just trying to release some tension, it is for you. Think of it a lot like an electric toothbrush, but for your muscles. It's a handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a calibrated combo of depth, power, and speed. Try Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/Duke right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/Duke, therabody.com/Duke. Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 49 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by the virtual one himself, Lord Cognito.
Matty, what's going on? I'm back off vacation. Yo, shout out to you for holding me down. And obviously the kind words and everything I definitely needed. I didn't realize what was about to happen. So salute to you, man. I watched the episode. I was like, damn, I gotta get back. Gotta get back to it, man. You know what I'm saying? I was itching.
You're good.
No doubt.
You've held it down here, so I appreciate you wanting to be there. Don't worry about it, though.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we're referring to our episode of Defining Duke Ultimax. Cog, you have a bit of an announcement to make here, I would say.
Yeah. Some things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I definitely accepted a position at Oculus, going to be VR Integrity Ops lead. And it's pretty exciting. It's a new chapter for me. And I know we'll get into some questions from the mailbag and stuff with more details. But it was a big moment. And I think by you doing what you did helped me savor it, like you said, and appreciate it more. So we'll get into that. What's going on with you, man?
I've been doing well. I just want to let the audience know they don't have to worry about you, right?
Yes.
Just right off the bat. We know we got questions about it, but do they have to worry that Cog's going anywhere? Maddie's going to be left on his own again?
Nah. You know what's funny? When I'm watching the episode, I'm like, damn, it made me, I love that I was able to take the time, but it made me feel bad. I'm like, my boy by himself. I was like, hey, like you know what I'm saying? The kid in the playground, they ain't got no friend to play with. I'm like, nah. So I'm coming.
But yeah, we have plenty to talk about that. But, of course, a big congratulations to you. I know how much time you put into all of this, and I'm just happy to see you get the rewards that you absolutely deserve, man. I can't think of a better guy to get everything he wants in life.
Thank you, brother. So seriously, thank you so much. It's truly appreciate it. It's just been a humbling week, man. It really has. You just reflect and you just think about your journey. And obviously it's just something that, as the game industry, is something that never was in my mind that it would happen. And I've always just did IT and other things. And then it was just a great opportunity, a great fit. And, you guys have known for a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, just salute to everybody and salute to Colin, salute to the whole team, everybody, Last Stand Media that just, showed out, show love, and allow me to still be a Duke. So I like that.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see me talk by myself about PlayStation Game Pass. Episode 45 of Defining Duke Ultimate's available right now. If you want to support the show over on Patreon, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Early access goes live every Thursday. We hit free feeds across the board Sunday. This episode is being recorded differently from any other previous episode of Defining Duke. So you may see after our first bit of news, the outfits might change a little bit. Maybe even the backgrounds might change a little bit. I don't know. Hair might change. Who knows? But the reason for that is we have the Game Awards coming up, and it will have already happened by the time you're listening to this. So what we're doing is we're recording the entire show right now, and then Game Awards happens. Who knows what's going to happen as we record it now? It's like in a time capsule in two different ways. So we don't know what's going to happen as we record now. We're going to get to our first bit of news where we know what happens. That'll be our lead because we have a pretty good hunch Xbox will be there. And then we'll be back to the normal show. So it's going to be a really interesting episode, but we did not want to leave that behind in what was a huge week.
Absolutely. Look, Sacred Symbols ain't the only people that can change their clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Duke's going to go see us fresh in a different way in the middle of this episode, too. So
fresh on a Friday morning after all this. So
exactly.
We've been recording a lot, though. We're doing our holiday episodes. We're starting to put the stash away so we can take a couple of weeks off. A lot of people have been asking about a Halo Infinite review discussion spoiler cast. We are absolutely going to do one, but we're going to do it in January. We want to give the audience time to play, explore. If they have stuff that they're busy with during the holidays, they can really get through it. We know this is the biggest game for our show yet, so we really want to give the audience time to play it and enjoy it, and then join the discussion with all the various questions they have. And knowing the Halo community, there will be a lot of discourse about this campaign, and it'll only pick up more by the time our show goes live. So just keep an eye out for that in January. We didn't want to squeeze it because we would need a thread to get your questions for it. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't squeezing you a week or two after launch. Like, we wanted to give you all time to play so you could comfortably submit. Other than that, we got one right in here that I wanted to cover here.
Yeah.
Alex Kilgore writes, "Hey Dukes, so Matty has been given the moniker of Titty Gobbler. I believe it's time for our friend Cog to have a nickname. The best I could come up with was Muscle Man Cog or Budgie Smuggler Cog. For this one, Cog should ask Myling Games what Budgie Smuggler is. Have you ever looked up what this is?"
I did not look at what this is. What is this?
So I was looking it up, and it didn't really come up with an exact definition, but the vibe I got was it is pretty much a Speedo that really hugs the genitalia. That's the vibe I got. So they're saying that's for you.
They hit me with the banana hammock and all this stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Damn.
If anyone has a better LSM nickname for Cog, similar to Matty, please share. Also wanted to salute both Matty and Lord Attic of ILP for the wonderful Halo Infinite reviews. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Salute to Attic, man. Salute to you. You've been putting it down, man. I got kind of stuck in a little bit, you know what I'm saying? To see what's going on. Just trying to get a feel of how everybody just approaches and stuff like that. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, oh my God, man. That was the longest review I've ever done, you know, and it made sense. You know, we had so much time with the game, as we'll talk about a lot during this show. But we had so much time to really think and marinate. So it was a really, really enjoyable review process. I'll just say that.
Nice.
Also wanted to include this message from Hidari Shotaro, who says, "Hey Dukes, just wanted to congratulate Cog on his new position at Oculus. You're one of the best personalities in the industry, and it's been such a joy getting to know you and your content. I know Oculus is extremely lucky to have you on their team. Keep rocking, Ninja."
Yo, salute, man. Thank you, Hidari. Much appreciated, man. Like I said, man, it's an exciting time. And, you know, we'll get into some more bad questions, but yeah, it is. There's a lot going on in this industry, you know, especially in the VR space. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what's going on and push this thing forward a little bit.
Absolutely. It's in capable hands. Let's talk about what games are playing. I want to start off with you because you got an interesting lineup here of AAA video games. So let's hear it.
Yeah, man. So obviously, still on my Guardians grind. So salute. I'm like chapter 13-ish right now. So it's starting to build. Man, I got a lot of thoughts on this one, man. A lot of thoughts on this. And yeah. Definitely liking it. We'll get into it took me a while to get there, maybe a couple of chapters, but once I got there, then I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? We'll get into that. But yeah, loving that. Obviously, Halo Infinite's outside, you know what I mean? As we are recording it, it is now live. So go check that out. You know what I mean? So I've definitely got that going on. And then, you know, your old flame tries to come back and woo you with some content. They got some Destiny, got some Halo guns. They got a
the Magnum. I saw that.
They got the BR. They got the back. They got the carbine. So it's like
I love that they're doing that. that. That's so cool. It even got me. I was like, oh, do I? No.
No. Smart. Stay away.
Yeah.
Stay away. You don't want to deal with none of that. So yeah, man. So it's just so cool. But to be honest, we thought this would be what it was going to be a smaller content drop for their 30th anniversary. But they've added a 6-man activity, which is based on Zur and some lore with him, which is pretty cool. And then they have a 3-player dungeon, and dungeons are pretty much awesome. They're like mini raids, 3 players only.
Nice.
It don't try to help you too much. That's been fantastic. So yeah, man, it's been those 3 right now as I get ready.
Nice
what about
little
you, sir?
FPS weekend for you.
Yes.
For me, I'm still playing SMT5. What I've realized is this game's definitely in my top 3 for this year for sure. It's really good because sometimes what to expect from a game, but it's so it doesn't surprise me with anything, but it does everything it needs to do extremely well. Gotcha. It's a really sound, well-made game. It's a lot of fun. Just past 40 hours in it and loving it. Really, really good turn-based game. Very tough, but atmospheric, moody. Nice. Really enjoying that. So absolutely cracking my top 3. And then I'm playing Unsighted. We recorded our Game Pass episode, which will be live for the holidays. We're doing a top Game Pass games of the year, and this is one of them because this is also snuck into a top 10 for me. Unsighted is this Zelda Hades style game on a gameplay front, but it's pixel art, which y'all know pixel art speaks to the heart. Yeah. There's a reason it's got art in it, right? So, but yeah, Unsighted is a game where you play as Alma, who's this automaton. And they use this new energy source called anima to power these automatons and give them a consciousness. And what's happening is this energy source is getting snuffed out in this world. And so everyone's on a timer. Everyone you meet, they'll say like 150 hours left, 80 hours left. And so it's constantly counting down, meaning that everyone in this game can die. You can turn this off if you want to, but what it does, it gives the game a real sense of urgency. And when you combine that with like intense fights, great mechanics, that are simple to control, right? Like you have an attack button, a shoot button, dodge, sprint, all that stuff. But when you combine that together with interesting boss mechanics, interesting enemy mechanics, and when you die, that like, oh, I got to get back. Like I gotta keep going because I don't know how much time I can eat up here. Yeah. Again, there's that sense of urgency that I'm really loving here. It's a beautiful game, really heartfelt characters made by 2 developers, really under-discussed, underrated game. I encourage people right now, look up Unsighted and just take one single look at it. And when you do so, you'll see what I'm talking about where you go, I kind of think this looks good. I want to try this out. If you're into pixel art especially.
I remember this. Yeah, we were talking about this. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. And it just, again, it looks like a game you've probably heard of before, but no one's talking about it. So I wanted to make sure, even though I'm going to be talking about a lot of this game as we conclude this year, between Game of the Year lists and, of course, Game Pass Game of the Year lists and this show. But I really wanted to make sure we used our platform right because this is a game that, like, I remember seeing the developer say, like, I wish more people were talking about it. Right? They were working on it. And so I was like, let's see what this game's all about. And it's excellent. It's really, really good. Quick download, too, as expected with a game like this. So give it a try if you're curious. I would really, 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 really recommend it. It's excellent.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that because at the end of the day, it's like, it's funny. I'm the same way when it's those smaller in the cut, either AA or indies, and I feel they knock it out their park. I almost feel an obligation. I got to be the promo for the damn studio because it's like more people need to play this. They need to know about it. So I can relate to exactly what you're talking about.
Like obviously Hitman 3, for example, is my game of the year, right? But you'll probably hear me talking about Unsighted more because Unsighted hasn't gotten any spotlight. So any chance I can talk about Unsighted, I will. It's a really, really nice game that, again, I highly encourage everyone to check out. It's on Game Pass, by the way. So
look, ain't no excuse. It's on Game Pass. Free $99. Go get that.
It's on Game Pass, $20, whichever way you want to go about it. Up to you. Let's do some warm-up questions now. First one comes from Lucius Augustus. Hello, Dukes. Xbox has had a pretty good year. It started slow, but picked up halfway through the year. And if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you've been eating good. What do you think Xbox needs to do to attract more people to the ecosystem after they've proven their studios can produce quality content? Despite the amazing value, Xbox continues to be seen negatively amongst casual or even hardcore casual crowds. I hope you have my coffee didn't wake me up. It just gave me more anxiety kind of Monday. That's why I don't drink coffee.
You don't need to know about that life, man. You don't need to know about it. Yeah, man, Lucius, it's a good question. I mean,
Mm.
yeah, I agree. I had a great year. Me personally, I gave them 2021. I gave it to them. I know it was some debate with a couple of friends of mine, and we were talking, and I just felt that yes, as much as PlayStation really started off strong, very some haymakers in the beginning, but I do feel as the year went on, Xbox just chipped away, stayed consistent, had the indies, and I think what they did kind of represents kind of what they want them to do on some level, which is you have the indies, you have 12 minutes, the Ascents, the Death's Doors, so to speak.
Yeah.
They have those, right? You fill those gaps. Then you have the third party deals that we talked about, where they launch these third party AAAs day and date, as if they're on yours, or as if they're almost exclusive to your platform. The Outriders, the MLB, the shows, the Back for Bloods, whatever. So, and you kill it with the first party. So I think if you follow that formula and can keep that cadence where you don't have as much gaps, that to me is going to be very key for them going forward. But yeah, man, I think this year is a small sample of what it could be, because when you have Forza and Halo at the end, that looks strong, right? That looks really tough at the end. So all I want to see though is next year.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about, Matty, PlayStation's coming.
Yes, they are.
So
Yes,
enjoy it. 2021 is great. 2022, I want to see how they react. How do they respond? What are the things they do? That's going to be my question. But what do you think about this whole strategy with them?
It's funny because Lucius is asking us, how do they attract people to their ecosystem next year? And I felt like this was the year they kind of accomplished that. The reason I say that is because as much as I love Halo and as much as I enjoyed Forza, like these are the games that will bring that more casual crowd, that more marketable crowd that you're trying to reach. Like everyone knows Halo. Forza is easy to pick up. Like it is super popular. It's it's the highest played Xbox Game Studios game. So that much is proven now. So I feel like this was the year for those types of games. Next year, we're seeing like Somerville, A Plague Tale. It's going to be a real test for Bethesda Game Studios as well. They're launching a new IP, and I know a lot of us here in the core gamer space are aware of them. We love Fallout. We love Elder Scrolls. But some people only care about Fallout or Elder Scrolls or both. They don't care about Starfield. They don't know about Starfield. So it's going to be a real test on how marketable BGS is as a brand. Arcane has typically struggled. They're dropping a game next year that's co-op open world. Hopefully that does really well. I want it to do well for them. I'm a big Arcane supporter. But what I'm saying is that's a year of a lot of new stuff, which I'm more excited for. But in the terms of them attracting new people, it can work in their advantage, right? Someone says like, ooh, co-op open world. I want that. Or, ooh, sci-fi open world. I want that RPG. You're going to attract different crowds in different ways now. And part of this is going to go through the Game Pass machine, but I feel like in the terms of like marketing to a sizable chunk of people was done this year. I feel like these were the games that they had to hit to do that. Things like Psychonauts 2 are for us at the end of the day, like for the core gamer, for the nostalgic gamer, that's who it's for. But like a Forza, a Halo, I think Contraband, like those are going to be the games that reach out. Avowed's in, I think, a spot where, again, this is funny because we're talking about something that we don't know what it looks like yet, but is apparently going to be at the Game Awards. But it's supposed to be Obsidian Skyrim, right? And it's like, that's marketable. People know what Skyrim is. So they have games set up that I think will bring people into the ecosystem. But I think next year isn't going to be a lot of that. And famous last words. Could be wrong on that. Obviously, Xbox will grow. I'm not saying they won't. I'm just saying I think this was the year that they got themselves back on the map where people are paying attention. So those games may be more effective than I'm giving them credit for.
Good point. No, absolutely valid. And the last point I'll just add in is just make sure, again, with the third party stuff, that if there's a way you can woo and get those third party pop culture games into that service day and date. Be selective. Use your money wisely. Like, for example, you've been playing Elden Ring. Right. I look at that. I'm not even a Souls guy like that, but I'm looking at that like, yo, that look like it's about to be a movement. Right. You Game Pass.
It literally is.
I know you. I trust you. You told me. Everyone that's playing it tells me. All my Souls fans, they love it. So it's like when I see that, I go, if you get that day and date, that is so powerful for your brand to make it feel like it's an Xbox exclusive, even though it's on PlayStation, right? But you want to take that zeitgeist. You want to be in the news conversation with all the biggest things. And if they could pull that off, that would be amazing. But we'll see.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Andrew Singo, who writes, "Hello, Dukes. With the incoming reviews for Halo Infinite's campaign being generally very positive, is it safe to say the king is back? Can we coronate 343 as an elite developer now? I kid, but in all honesty, I'm curious what you think about an all too soon look to the future for this developer and IP and what comes next. Take care and happy holidays." Andrew, happy holidays to you as well, Andrew, and the rest of our audience. Is the king back truly?
Yes.
Okay.
The king is back. The king is back. He's got his crown. You know what I'm saying? Now there's some little dust here and there on little things, but he's back. He's back. So we got to give him that. As far as the package, solid campaign for the most part. The reviews are out, right? Your review is out. Our review is out. Gaming.net and on ILP. And then we knew about the multiplayer. Solid. And what we could give them is they did not mess up crazy. Right now, we'll get into other things that we found out later that me and you are going to be justified. The Dukes are going to get justified. And as King said, I want them knees because people was coming for us and saying, oh, you're whining and there's nothing wrong and bring it out. Oh, we learned. And we'll get into that. But as far as this question, I will say 343 deserves their roses for this, right? However, you know what I'm saying? Let's not get crazy with, they're in the studio. It's on. Like, let's relax. Let's relax.
But this is so weird, right? Because I feel like I loved Halo Infinite. I really do. It's such a fun game. Like, they got the gameplay right. But I'm like upset with myself. I'm like, why am I not convinced that it's 343, right? Like,
I know, right?
I don't know how else to say. I really do think it's because their storytelling. I don't know. I'm not crazy about the story in Halo Infinite. And Halo is one of the last standing campaigns that has last standing first-person shooters with a campaign worth caring about. So I take it a little bit more seriously when I felt like they did some weird things with it, which, again, I can't wait for our spoiler cast and review discussion to really tap into what people think about. Because I beat this game like the week of Xbox's anniversary. Like, that was the week I beat that game. So, I remember texting you. I was like, I beat it.
I was like, damn!
Yeah. Because I couldn't put it down, but I was so grabbed by it. But I was also like, there's some really disappointing things here. So I'm going to be, again, curious to see if this turns into a Halo 5 situation. I don't think it's that bad, but I'm saying, like, I'm curious if it can spiral that way, because we've already seen how it's been with the multiplayer, which is excellent, with some very notable flaws that have been discussed. And 343 has been transparent. Like, we know, we hear, we got it. Like, the Halo community is hard to satisfy, I think. So I'm in the boat of gameplay wise, they are the studio. Yes. The king is indeed back right now. But moving forward with these future expansions, I feel like I'm excited for the future of Halo.
Yes.
Because as I've said for about a week or two now, I feel like my biggest issues, even in the campaign with Halo Infinite, is not what's there, but besides the environmental diversity not being there, but it's really what's not there, right? Like, so if suddenly next year we get this new expansion, Assault on the Control Room, it's this snow mission, you might hear the biggest advocate of Halo's campaign of all time, because that was one of my biggest gripes. That environmental diversity hurts. It really does. So things that they add can fix these issues I have personally. New modes in the multiplayer playlist, all that stuff. I'm sure everyone's already heard about that. So,
of course.
I think personally that we have a studio that got the core right, but as we'll learn, it chopped a lot out.
Oh, yeah, we're going to learn.
They chopped a lot out, and you can feel that. So what they add in down the line, be very keen to see what that is.
Right.
And I think that will define them more than in a lot of ways the launch product, because it's a service game.
No, I agree. I think that is a fantastic point. And I think because of this new way Halo is going to see, I'm a Destiny fan, so I'm used to this. So this is going to be new, where it's like you're going to get continued story, because Destiny's finally at that place where they're actually telling good narratives.
Perfect example, right? Because they started off in that area of like, nah, this ain't it, and now it's like the top service game, right? Everyone's hyped on Destiny, so it's a great point.
Yeah, that's it. And for the Halo community, the cool thing about it is if they execute it right, the future could be bright for telling some really great stories and fill in blanks and questions and things that people had.
Absolutely. Anyway, let's move on to Morgan DeWitt. Salutations, Morrowind, Matty, and Iron Lord Cognito. With Microsoft ending the backwards compatibility program, wouldn't it benefit them to drum up some goodwill by bringing OG Xbox and Xbox 360 games to PC Game Pass? This would be a great way to expand the offering on PC that would entice more players to use the service on that platform. It would also bring some games to PC that were never on the platform before, such as Skate 3 and Battlefield Bad Company. What's stopping Microsoft from doing this? Are they keeping it in their back pocket for a rainy day, or are there some obstacles that we don't know about preventing them from doing this? Keep boning that bird and have an unsalted order of French fries kind of day.
Not the unsalted fries. Come on now.
I mean, hey, if you got something to dip them in, that's not too bad. They're just potatoes.
Yeah, I'm with you. You gotta have something to dip them with. Look, man. Good question. Shout out to Morgan. I think this is one thing I initially kind of was like, okay, what's this about? And my feeling it's got to be the technical and the legal aspect, because the technical aspect from the standpoint of a lot of this is emulation, where you have the disc and it's looking for, like, as if you had your Xbox account for your 360, it matches, it does that handshake, and then you're able, to download and then able to play. So because PC is such an open platform, and I'm assuming, right, it didn't exist in the space. That's one aspect. And then the other thing is, I don't know from a legality standpoint, if they can do it only if something actually tied to the hardware. These are questions it's a good question, because I don't know specifically, but I do want to speak to like Jason and the team and those guys to see, why PC wouldn't be able to get it, right? Because it's an honest question. Any thoughts on your side as far as
xCloud is, I think, where they want to go with this. I think it requires too much work, and that's their step there. Because I remember I was playing Fable 2 on PC and it was working just fine. And Fable in general is notoriously like unresponsive when it comes to controls. Like when you press left, it's like 1, 2, 3, and then you're suddenly going left. So the fact that it felt responsive on PC, granted, I'm running through FiOS, Ethernet, keep that all in mind.
Flex. But it's that good internet talk.
That's that creator internet is what we call it. But
that's that quantum talk. I know.
But xCloud, I think, is where they want to go with this. It'll save them work, where I think they really believe in that future of that being compatibility. And again, we've talked this off the ears of the audience, which is, hey, the Xbox One users, like, guess what? You can play Series X games now. I think that's where they want to go when it comes to all compatibility. It'll likely save them a lot of work if you can just stream the game onto a platform rather than reconfiguring it inside and out to work on a platform that not many people will play it on. Also, I'm going to be honest with Morgan here and the audience, of course. PC Game Pass sucks. PC Game Pass sucks. But I had another instance.
Oh no! What happened?
My Halo Combat, or not Combat Evolved, my Halo Master Chief Collection was bugging out a ton, and then my friend on the other end, he wanted to play Final Fantasy 13 too. It kept crashing. It was really bad. And I think Final Fantasy 13 2 has a pretty bad PC port, but I know the Game Pass version has, in instances, fixed it, like Nier Automata. But they also just, the games I've experienced there, I kind of stay away, which is not a good sign. I really don't like where PC Game Pass is at. You can definitely feel it's the left behind aspect of the service, which sucks because we're paying for it with Ultimate. Like, the idea of Ultimate is like you get it on PC and Xbox, and that's their number one product that everyone talks about. So it should be at its best.
Absolutely right. These are the frustrations that I like I said, one thing about Cog, I'm gonna tell them what they need to hear. So that was one of the things I told them, and I was just like, hey, what's going on with that? And everything I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting is a lot of these issues are going to be resolved when Windows 11. They're tied to Windows 11, But the only thing is, if you're a content creator, you may want to wait. You want to see how that thing settles before you start messing with all your applications. But if you're just, a gamer and that's all you're doing is there, then absolutely, I would say go for it. and try that and have those experiences better. But to your point, I do agree there is a discrepancy between PC Game Pass and regular Game Pass, and they got to bridge the gap.
Yeah. I'm actually looking up Final Fantasy 13 2 on PC just to verify, and it's a damn shame here. It's mixed reviews on Steam. PC Invasion, I'm just looking at a preview of their article. Final Fantasy 13's PC port was one of the most catastrophically awful things I've had the mixed pleasure of writing about.
Yikes.
So there is that. This is upsetting because as a 13-2 fan, I wanted to like really screech to people, go play it.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. Defining Duke is brought to you by Theragun. If there's one thing you need to know about myself and Lord Cognito, it's that we're team health is wealth. We're all about that self-care to make sure that we're around to play those amazing looking video games that are yet to come out. And so part of that is going to the gym, lifting some weights, going on a jog. But the more important aspect that a lot of people overlook is the recovery process. And Theragun has been a part of my recovery process for well over a year now. Whether you're a trained athlete or just trying to release some tension, it is for you. Think of it a lot like an electric toothbrush, but for your muscles. It's a handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a calibrated combo of depth, power, and speed. Whether you want to treat that tension or you're just releasing stress, there is absolutely no substitute for the Theragun Gen 4. There's a nice OLED screen and design that makes you feel like you're holding something straight out of the future. Just go to their site and check it out, and the Theragun app to learn from your behaviors and suggested guided routines. Try Theragun for 30 days, starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/Duke right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/Duke, therabody.com/Duke. Let's go on to Raymond Stewart. Hey, Dukes. First, congrats to Cog in his new position with the Oculus team. With 2022 ahead, we can be confident that we will be excited, we will be disappointed, and we will be surprised at some point. It is easy to be critical and focus on the negatives or where things fall short. So let me flip the script to my question. How do you protect or even fight to keep your enjoyment from playing video games? Amidst all the games you play, how do you not just focus on the job, but also find ways to enjoy playing games? Ultimately, it is the love for games that ultimately led you both to where you are today. Have the game you hated won the Game of the Year award kind of day. Damn, I feel attacked.
Yeah, that was so. Let's start with you on this one. I'm curious. Like, what do you do? I got my answer, but I'm very curious for you. Like, what do you do to kind of keep that fire, to keep that balance? You review a ton of games, bro. You got the channel, the other podcasts, you got things going, man. Game development. You doing people say I'm doing a lot. You doing a lot too. So I want to hear this.
Yeah, it's actually, this question comes at an interesting time because I've noticed a change in tone to my review reception as it's growing in the audience. And you think it's a good thing? It's funny because I posted, I was a little surprised by Halo Infinite's scores. I thought it was going to score well. I did not think it would score near 90 like it did, at least when I last looked. Right. And I was getting some replies like, yeah, after your Deathloop review, when I see you like cranking on something, I know it's going to be good. And some people, like a lot of people were saying like, you're really critical now. I'm like, okay. It's funny because I guarantee next year I'll be called a fanboy for Starfield or something like that. You know, I just... You can't win, so I don't focus on it. Just I thought this came at a really interesting time where the tone for my review reception, it used to be like, haha, Fallout 4 near perfect, guy's a joke, and now it's like I'm too critical. So you can't win. I don't pay attention to it. I just do my job.
That means you're doing it right then.
Yeah, I guess, right? But I thought it was interesting to leap off of that point because me, you know, it's always been my honor to be able to review video games. It's my favorite thing to do. Since I really began, I always reviewed games since even like my first YouTube channel in 2008. But, you know, officially reviewing games started with Saints Row 4 in 2014. And that feeling has never lost its luster to me. I think that's where just passion is just a thing that's intangible that you can only by giving a fuck have. Right. And so for me, it's just like I love games and I love having the opportunity to be heard. And to me, I think that's what's really important is just people lending me their ear. Like, again, I think it's values. I understand time is a currency as important as money. And that's not just for when I give you my verdict on a review, but you've taken time to listen to me. I'm not saying you're choosing me above others, like fantastic reviewers like Carrick, skill up. I'm hoping you're listening to them as well. I always recommend listening to other reviewers. But for me, it's like I'm very honored that people will actually sit down and hear what I have to say and decide based off what I say if they spend their money. And I don't take that lightly. So part of it is your investment in me keeps me going. It makes me feel validated. Like I know it sounds really sad to say,
No,
but
that's
sometimes
real.
I really struggle with self-validation because I work with Cog, I worked with Carrick, I work with Colin. I mean, it gets me emotional. Like, I mean, these are idols to me, man. You guys are amazing. And so for me, it's like I'm this young kid who's like trying to just trying to be like you guys. And so, you know, I don't want to let you guys down either. Like, you guys are incredible. So, you know, for me, it's just one of those things where I just want to do my job well. So it's your investment in me that lets me do that, right? And it's also, you know, I'm very future focused. I don't mean to turn this into a whole ramble, but
no, please. That's why I wanted to hear this.
I get nervous with my job just because, you know, YouTube could disappear one day. And so
Absolutely.
That's why I kind of shifted into game development a little bit, because I always want to be in gaming and I wanted to take that heart I've had for years that's been built up through playing amazing things people have made. And, you know, when I played Persona 5 Royal, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back is, you know, that was like that moment I went, this is so good. I want someone to feel this way when they see something of mine. I'm like, I don't think a YouTube video will ever do that. I don't. Like, I can make you laugh. I can make you chuckle. I can make you sad. I don't know. But like, I just don't think a video can do that. So I was like, you know, I want to go make a game. And again, to me, the enjoyment's just always been there naturally. And I don't know if it's a how you do it. It's really just a matter of, I see people in our industry. I see a lot of people in our industry who bitch and moan because they have to play like a 10-hour game, a 15-hour game. And I find that to be some of the most disheartening stuff ever, because people look up to you and people want to be in your spot and people work really hard jobs. And we're lucky to play video games and talk about games. And yeah, there are days like, you know, this week has been wearing the gauntlet, right? Like, we have been podcasting every day and yeah, it's been tough. I'm exhausted, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm way more exhausted than a construction worker or something like that. Like, I know there are honestly more important jobs than what I'm doing. So when I see people like in our industry bitching, it motivates me, because it's like, you don't get it. You've lost the plot. You don't understand what you have. And I don't want to say you don't belong here. I hope that person those people can turn around their attitude. But to me, that's what keeps me going too, is like, we're in such a shitty time for gaming, but we're also in such a good time for gaming where I want to see people understand that you can still be excited about modern gaming. That with Ubisoft doing fucking NFTs and we see shitty monetization in Halo Infinite and weird progression systems, and you just remember the good times, that there are experiences like, I think of God of War, Persona 5 Royal, Forza, where it's like, you know, we still get amazing things. And just, again, it boils down to being heard, where I can tell you about those things. And hopefully you'll just, you know, you don't have to listen to everything I say and like obey those orders, but like just hearing about them can do something. So really long-winded, man, but
well said. I love it.
You know,
I love it, man.
Just to me, it's I love games, and you know, I feel very blessed to be doing what I'm doing. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Brother, well said, man. You're on fire. I felt the passion. I mean, we share it. We share that, man. And I think that's how I look at it. You know, for me, you know, obviously this week's been a blessing for me, and we're talking about gaming and we're talking about these opportunities. You know, I'm not a video guy. I've never been. You know, people always told me like, yo, you need to do videos. You need to do this. And I'm like, Cog just like to run his mouth and talk.
I get it.
Cog, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm good at. And I want to, and to me, how you love reviewing, what I've realized, I loved interviewing. I loved hearing the stories, learning the journey, getting a little bit of detail and nuance out of a developer.
Dude, you're great at it. You're great at it. I don't think I'm very good at it. You do a good job of like listening intently and like adjusting and asking questions in the moment. It's really good.
And it kind of came out of nowhere, just going to my first show and just putting a microphone in my hand and just going up to the dev, and you just seeing the passion. It's like, you know, you're getting this behind the scene album before it's released, right? You know what I'm saying? You're like, yo, this is it. And to see where it goes. So to the question with Raymond, which is like, okay, how do you balance it? For me, you said it best, Matty. Like, I always humble myself, because I know there's so many people that would love to do what I'm doing now. right? And then I would look at the people like, the Collins, the Ryans, all these guys, right? And like, man, that is so cool what they do. And you're right. There's times we're going to get overworked and there's times we're going to get stressed. We know this week for me, this week for you. Like, it's crazy. December, especially with Xbox and everything that's going on. And like, it's a lot going on. This has been a hell of a last probably two months, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, man, we doing what we love to do, right? At the end of the day, it's games. We dreamed of these moments. I'm a kid from the South Bronx. All I cared about, my dream was to go to E3. Yeah. That was it. That was as far as my dream at the time. You know what I'm saying? Once I hit that goal, okay, what's next? So just finding that balance. And the last thing I say is just there's times when gaming is a job and you got to do some things that sometimes you don't want to do for the sake of research and whatever information, but also balance that by sometimes doing that mindless fun thing or with the homies, right? So that you still having fun. Don't just and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I'm such a perfectionist. I want to, and I'm like, I got to chill. Take some time for myself. Maybe jump on Destiny, shoot some heads. Maybe jump on something with the homie and mindless fun.
Content-based gaming. Yep.
That's the key.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I do. That's why I love my Muso games. I love my JRPGs. I talk about JRPGs on my channel, but not a lot. You can look at my uploads. Like, I talk about them on the very rare occasion. So you have to have those games. I think that's a really key component. I'm glad you brought it up. Like, you have to have those games that you just play for you. And that you'll talk about, you just by default as a podcaster, like anything you play will get into your content. But of course, like there's, for me, making dedicated videos, like that's the bulk of my work. And it's like, I'm not doing that for JRPGs. I'm just not. The audience isn't there for me. And so it's fine with me. It's like, I want to just enjoy them on my own. And unless one really captures me where I'll take the dive. But otherwise it's like, no, I just want to quietly play them. And my game of the year list will be very telling of that because I have a lot of JRPGs there.
No doubt. I call it the comfort food. You just need your comfort food, man. That's what you like.
Absolutely. Great question, Raymond. Thank you so much for writing it.
Yes, very much.
Last one, we'll get into the news here. Dakota Brown. Hey, Matty and Cog. I'm writing in because Matty asked for more pushback on his opinions. Well, here I am to defend/push back on his criticism of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I recall you saying that Pokemon has not been great these past few years with Sword and Shield, and now Diamond and Pearl with their lack of evolution. And he is recalling correctly, just to make that certain. You said Diamond and Pearl put you to sleep. This is also true. I did actually legitimately fall asleep. That's not even me trying to be disrespectful. Like, I actually fell asleep for an hour and woke up and went, oh, shit, wow.
Damn.
I'm here to say I appreciate recent Pokemon games and their ability to make it easier for players to understand their deeper mechanics. For example, Sword and Shield has a mechanic that allows you to more easily grind viable competitive Pokemon. First time I ever dipped my toes into breeding and competitive battling for the series. For Diamond Pearl remakes, I appreciate the add of EX Share and getting rid of HM Slave Pokemon. I was really able to experiment with Pokemon that I've never tried. Finally, everyone has their comfort game. Okay, we just said this.
You just said that. It's good. Yeah, I like that.
This is the game that I can enjoy and play no matter how tired, drunk, distracted by other things going on that I am. Sorry for the long rant and for this being about a Nintendo product. However, this needed to be said, and you asked for more pushback. You knocked out a rare Pokemon when trying to catch it kind of day. I'm surprised you didn't use Abra as an example there. Abra always fucking runs away whenever you need it. No, this is great. Yeah, no, this is great. Like, this is what I asked for because I mean, hey, if no one's pushing back and I'm asking for it, like, I must be doing an okay job. Who knows? But yeah, I love this because it's really, to me, Dakota, and I say this with all due respect, you fascinate me. Like, you are a fascinating specimen to me that I just get to look at and go, okay, you like this now. Okay. And I think it's hard to have a conversation at times about Pokemon because you always got to know, is nostalgia a factor?
Right.
Because my argument is Pokemon as a product is now, Pokemon is a byproduct of generational nostalgia. So all grew up with it. It was this forward-thinking thing because when I was playing it, like many others, we were younger, right? And I know there's people older than us who are playing it probably right now, and that's fine. But I'm speaking about people my age where we grew up with it. When I think about Pokemon, there is this warmth, there is this comfort that takes me over. Like, it brings that with it because I remember the just simple times. And so when I now pick them up, hoping for that experience again, you just realize how thin these games are. And when I played SMT5 right after, I went, oh my God, Oh my God. Just because the gap is huge. And I experienced it. I think of Persona 5 Royal, and I thought that was unfair because I genuinely think on a turn-based combat level, when it comes to mechanics, that is the best one out there right now.
Nice.
Like just baton passes, weakness targeting, one more system, list goes on. There's so much that's baked into that combat system that lets you just feel powerful. And it's not just a game of waiting for the enemy to attack you. Like you can really take control. And it's one thing I loved about SMT5. But then you look at Pokemon, it's this, just this slow Joe boxing back and forth, trading blows. There's no rhyme or rhythm to it. Some people are like, simple's good, which is what Dakota says. It's a nice comfort game. And hey, we just talked about that. I respect that. That's the only thing I can respect about Pokemon. But the reality is that Pokemon was not always a comfort game. It wasn't. You know, I looked at stuff like Pokemon Conquest. I looked at Mystery Dungeon. I look at all these spinoffs they used to do and how, I wouldn't say ambitious it was, but the willingness to experiment that they had. And now people are like Dakota going like, in this new next generation entry, I can grind easier for competitive Pokemon. That is not what should happen when you go from 3DS to Switch. This should not be the thing we're talking about, in my opinion. And the things that they tried to do, the open area was as barren as Fallout 3's Wasteland. It's like, you know, there's nothing here. It just felt like and it was a 3DS game ported over to the Switch. So I'm very interested in Legends of Arceus. That's where, or Arceus. That's where we can reel it back a little bit. And I may have these comments aged poorly, but I appreciate the challenge, Dakota. I really do. I'm always happy to engage with the audience when they disagree, because you get to listen to me for 2-3 hours a week alongside Cog. I'm sure you're not agreeing with everything I say. If you feel passionate enough, write in. We'll toss you in the show.
They came for me the week before. They come for you now.
Just don't treat us like Colin, where you guys just harass us.
Don't do that.
All right, this is where the outfit change will occur, and then we'll be back for number 2. All right, number 1, the time travelers are here. We're here after the Game Awards, and then in segment 2 and on, we'll go back to Wednesday when we typically record this. So yeah, sorcery happened right before your very eyes. Cog, we got a list of reveals to talk about, some really good ones here, but of course, I think the first thing we need to address is our general reception to the Game Awards. Where are you at for the Game Awards 2021? Did you enjoy the show?
I was happy it exists.
Okay.
Now listen, I did enjoy the show, but there are issues. There are issues, and you know, we said it on our ILP stream, and you know, I actually tweeted it publicly. They got a lot of response, and my issue is that, look, we know running these things are hard. I'm not going to sit there and act like I appreciate Jeff for doing what he's doing. It's our Oscars, whatever. But, you know, it's one of those things where I struggle with developers not getting their flowers. If this is the award show, right? If this is the award show, we got to give the deal. We can't speedball through announcements of games that developers that have won. Like categories that they have won, or off screen, they'd be like, oh, by the way, this one, Forza won this and this. Yeah. And I'm like, what? And then the last thing that really annoyed me, and I think it was, and again, this is not just for Forza, it's for anybody. It pains me when I hear a dev doing his speech and he's looking at the clock on, oh, they're telling me to wrap it up. Like they got the wrap it up B box from Dave Chappelle. And I'm like, bro, but the ads seem to be able to play. And the promo seems to be able to play whatever it wants. So they got to do better. They got to do better, man. I don't like to be critical of something because I really appreciate what it is for us, but it needs work. It needs work on that regard.
Yeah, I think every year it's kind of a crapshoot. And I say that with all due respect, not like, oh, it's going to be bad, but more so like you don't know what you're going to get. And the reason I say that is because I think it's a chain reaction. I genuinely believe it starts with a reveal. And then for every set of reveals, they need an ad in between. And for each ad, when they really ramp it up, it's just by the end, how many do we have of each? And this year they went really hard on the ads. To me, that was my biggest point of criticism. The commercials were really killing the pace of this show. And again, I'm not against anyone making their money. I'm not against bags being secured here. Like, hey, go for it. Look, I do promotions on my own channel. I get it, right? Like, you can do it, but it's just a matter of how often, how jarring, how much it interrupts, right? It's starting to feel less like an award show because of that, because the awards were subsided, the reveals were there, but even the reveals couldn't have a good pace because of the ads. Like, I think that was the worst part of the show, and I hate to say that because it's so easily deflected. It's like, what do you want to do? Do it for free? It's like, no. But like, I think of other years where they weren't as intrusive, or when they were there, they felt more tied to gaming. But we were reaching into the deepest of pockets here. Google Play, man. Jeff, like, he was taking the mobile game money. And look, I know there's some good mobile games out there. We talk about xCloud, using your phone for gaming, but shit.
Bro, Shadow Death Legends dropped the bag off to Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Dude, I was like, for that to happen in this segment, I mean, in this show, I'm like, that bag had to be crazy. And I'm gonna let you finish.
No. Yeah, you mean like Raid Shadow Legends, right? Like
Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah. Oh my god, when I saw that, I was like, dude, he must really. I don't know if it was desperate or if they were just like, yo, it's holiday season, let's cash out. But between that and then I thought the Activision stuff that they were talking about in the beginning was all right, but it felt kind of stitched in, and it was a little hilarious in a way because they talk about the studio culture and industry, and they followed up with an announcement for Quantic Dream, who's reportedly had bad studio culture. I'm like, all right, so this was definitely like a last minute, oh fuck, the headlines are killing us. We got to address this, or else it's going to get worse. Overall, I like the Game Awards for what they are, which is clearly just a showcase reel with a couple of awards in the mix.
Yes.
But I am in agreement. They need a rework for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we're all about people getting their bag. We understand the tough balance with trying to run a show like this, of this nature, this spectacle. But awards have to take precedence. Awards still have to be why we're here, and that's the thing. We just felt, I just felt cheated on that level, because again, we're here to celebrate games. We're here to celebrate. Like, you can't tell a developer. Someone had the perfect thing in our chat, and it was like, "Oh yeah, you developed this game for 6 or 7 years. Oh, by the way, you only got 1 more minute. Get off the stage. Come on." You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, by the way, we're not going to talk about, like, any developer who won award should get their flowers and have their time to go up on stage. Like, to me, the Joseph Fares joint, when it takes 2-1, bro, that hit me in the feels. I'm like, that's what it's about, right? You see how emotional he was, that's what it's about, man. Give them their flowers. Don't ever pull the Sandman hook and get a dude off the stage. Like, come on, man.
You're totally right. That was the worst one, because when you look at, I'm not saying people go back and watch it, but when you really tab through it, which I had to do when editing my video, you see how many of the awards are given out by Jeff just standing on stage, and they're like, and here are the nominees, and the winner is Forza, and here are the nominees.
What?
And I'm like, imagine sitting in the crowd for that, by the way.
Bro, you flew out there.
Yeah,
you don't even get the camera to pan. Not to cut you. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
To pan on each individual, still give them give the nominees their shine. Don't just speedball. Like, that was a bad look. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the few who do go to the stage for their awards, like, each of them, I mean, look, I know it's nerve-wracking. If I were to be ever up there, I would stutter and stammer. But there was a lot of that this year, and I have a feeling, even because everyone was coming up, pulling out their phones, like, they had stuff prepared. And again, I know it's emotional. There's nerves there, so I'm not going to put it all on the producing team.
True.
But I think you could tell there was a hustle on the back end, like, go every
Wrap
time.
It up, B.
Yeah, because everyone, even Joseph Fares was stuttering.
Yes,
and he doesn't give a fuck. Like,
exactly,
he's the last guy to stutter. You could tell every speech was a culmination of, I want to say a little of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Like, and they just mashed it all together. Like, Joseph Fares wanted to make his Oscars joke, thank his team, thank his family. And you know what? That guy's a Game Awards icon. If anyone deserved, not that the rest didn't, by the way. I think
so happy for him.
But if anyone deserved the time on the stage, because he's got that meme status, and now he's like up there, a winner. All show you're like, is he gonna win? I was sitting there. Justice was done. Deathloop. Sorry, take a seat. Deathloop. Joseph Fares in the building. That was a really shocking moment too. And
me too.
I don't know. I feel like that. It's interesting because you're like, this needs to be more of an award show. I accept it as what it is, which I think is like a marketing highlight reel.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, if you're going to give awards out and they're going to come to the stage, like, look, if you run a couple minutes overtime, let it happen. Let those moments develop. Because I want to shout out a speech that happened during Trending Gamer. One of my
Yes.
favorite speeches. I think a lot of people know where I'm going here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Greg Miller's speech was phenomenal, though. Like,
Yeah.
I always remember that. That's like the
Yes.
speech quality caliber I'm looking for.
Yeah,
And
shout
it's
out
because
to
he was
Greg on
definitely
that
given
one.
time on stage. He was given
Yes.
time to run with it for a little
Yes.
bit.
I agree.
And I really think that like that needs to be able to happen to give more studios faces, right? Not everyone's
Yeah.
got their Todd Howard. Not everyone's got their Hideo Kojima. So,
Facts.
you know, right? Like, think of what the Game Awards did for Joseph Fares. Like,
Yeah, think about
I
it.
think he's relevant because, yeah, he acted like an ass his first year around,
Yeah,
flipped off the camera. But let's be honest, man. He, you know, that was his launch pad. Like, there's something there with that platform that can develop a studio culture that, like,
Yes.
yo, that guy's crazy and he loves what he does.
Yes. No, absolutely well said. I remember at the time, you know, I was a little perturbed with him. I was like, he out of pocket. You know what I mean, when I first saw him, but it's one of those things where it's just like his passion for gaming. As I've come from that moment, you know what I'm saying? It shows how much he loves gaming. And it just that pure raw emotion. And I love that. And I love studios to get there. And a lot of developers hit me up. And they were that tweet that I would say it went super viral, but people really responded to what I said on Twitter in reference to that. So yeah, I'm glad we talked about it because we know the business. We know there's world premieres. We know the promo, but you got to do better still. You still could improve.
Absolutely. And I think there's been way better balances even in recent years. So
yes.
It's definitely something they can look into. The other thing I want to talk about before we get into the reveals is what did you feel about the plethora of like TV shows, movie extensions, and celebrities there? I feel like no matter what's been said, this has been one of the loudest critiques. And, you know, hey, look, we like these celebrities. And I think ones like Keanu Reeves can make some sense.
Yeah.
But like, let's get some of our figures out there on stage. And, you know, because here's the thing is like Jeff has built this platform. If he used these celebrities as building blocks to get to a point where it's like, hey, we're this multi-million, he said tens of millions at the start of the show. I was like, tens of millions. Right. So like, if it's that big, why are we bringing celebrities in the building, man? Like bring the developers out to present these things. I just, where are you at though on the TV movie celebrity front and how there was like 4 shows, I think, that were shown off. And to me, it just that felt like it was between that and mobile gaming, there was a focus on the extension of gaming rather than video games itself.
All right. So I'm torn only on one part, like the actual presentation of awards by a celebrity. I actually don't have a problem with. Okay. I understand because they're in a tough spot in the sense of they want more eyes on it. They also, he's growing, you know, the show's growing at a phenomenal rate. You wanted to break pop culture. You want to show, okay, gaming lives in this everything space. However, which is where I do agree with what you said, is that I struggle with non-gaming things at a gaming show. So if the movie has nothing to do with it, like Sonic, it makes sense, right? Yeah. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Matrix on some level, they did show, you know, the Unreal Engine thing, but to your credit, that's a stretch. To your credit, it went on the non-gaming part. Went on way too long, and I'm just like, okay, we gotta refocus, you know, back to what it is. And there was one movie with Bradley Cooper there. I think it had nothing to do with gaming.
Yeah,
I was like, what? I was like,
oh, that was the Del Toro one, right?
Yeah, it was like, yo, this is Kojima's friend, and you know, he got the movie out. And I'm like, all right, so I'm like, damn, I'm wrong about Kojima not being here. And on top of me wrong about Kojima not being here, they showed a movie. I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? So, and what it did is it destroyed the pacing. Yeah. It destroyed it because I'm sitting there. I'm just like, man, we in the 4-hour stream. I'm like, man, this is really taking me out of the moment. There's a couple of times I was like, all right, Greg. The joke was, Jeff wants me to get Grubhub, so I literally ordered Grubhub and used the code on stream. The chat was laughing at me. I'm like, clearly this is commercial break time. But by the time I still was able to order by Grubhub and the food came, people were laughing at me. It was hilarious. So I ordered Wendy's.
How was that? You got, what was it? Free delivery with the Grubhub thing? Or?
Yeah, it was like a 10% off, which you kind of get towards your free delivery and all that. So I ordered Wendy's, and I was like, I'm gonna make something out of it. This is what the Game Awards wants me to do. I'm supporting the devs.
Yeah, this is the best thing you got out of it, probably.
Oh man, yeah. What about you, man? What's your thought?
Yeah. When it comes to the TV movie stuff, I'm right there in the same ballpark as you. Like, if it's, I thought the Sonic trailer was actually really fun. I did actually enjoyed it a lot. There was, after playing Adventure this year, there were actually a lot of good references there. It was like references to Unleashed even. I was thinking to myself, like,
especially compared to the first one, and maybe it's because I know more now than when I saw the first one. I was looking at like, you know what? You can really see the heart in this one. Like this actually, like I was watching reactions online afterwards. I was like, yo, like I get it. Like this actually, this was a great trailer.
Yeah, it was.
Halo we'll talk about separately. I think that was an all right fit, but I'm with you. Like when Kojima shows up, he's like, I want to show you this movie. And I'm like, okay. Like I'm thinking like Kojima attached to this somehow. And it's just this Bradley Cooper movie. So Willem Dafoe. I'm like, what the fuck? Is the platform this big now where like Jeff's like, yeah, let's twist and turn this into a movie thing. I mean, it felt really Hollywood. I don't know how else to put it. No, really Hollywood. And yo, nothing to do with the TV and movies. Let's talk about the studio sound bites, the fake laughs, the fake applause. It wasn't even done tactfully. Like you'd see them shoot a crowd shot, and you'd hear like the. And I'm like, no one's moving their hands. Yeah, and they knew. To me, all it said was one thing, bro. They knew those jokes sucked because they were filling in the dead air.
Yes,
I'm like, imagine being in that crowd
and they just sitting there looking at you and it's not popping. Like
they got Simu Liu coming out there like with his phone, like, oh, sorry guys, I'm out here doing this stupid award instead of playing Halo Infinite. And I'm like, imagine pitching that like, Simu, bro, we need you to go out and look like an absolute douche out there. Like we need you to not give a shit about them and disrespect them in utmost silence as you look at your phone. I'm like, yeah, probably good on paper, but man, like with the studio laughs, if they weren't there, there would have been so many iconic moments in this show. I'm not even kidding. There would have been so many iconic moments. I wish I was in the crowd to some extent because that's what they experienced is like the dead silence.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. And as much as I loved the Sonic movie, I even felt the jokes I felt like he was doing a stand-up prior. Like they would do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Now, Jim Carrey was funny. I ain't go for it. Jim Carrey was hilarious.
Yeah, he just lost his mind.
He just lost his mind for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But again, even that segment went on way too long before you got into what they're there for, which is to show off the Sonic movie, which looked great. You know, it got a lot of positive reception. So about that. But again, striking that balance, you know, and not. We understand the bag. We understand the viewing time. They understand, you know, when's the time to show Bradley Cooper and Guillermo del Toro's movie is that when this is the peak viewership. I understand the metrics in the business. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But you still got to refocus, man. You got it. Because it becomes, if I'm going to be honest, because Hogue jumped in ILP stream.
Oh,
and Hogue went in. He was just like, because we had a thing with what do you rate it? You know, he was like F-. He's like, he was just going in. Because what it is you starting to feel the purity go away. When you lose the essence of why you're there, that's when you're walking that fine line. Not all money is good money. Like sometimes you gotta, you know.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and I think there was some dirty money taken there for sure.
Yeah,
there's definitely some dirty money. Well, that's definitely enough about that. Let's talk about what I know a lot of our audience wants to hear, which is the games. So we got a lot of the major highlights here. We want to run them all, talk them with you. Out of the three major publishers, Xbox definitely had the biggest presence. Nintendo didn't show up. PlayStation showed off Horizon, which looks fantastic.
Yes.
They also got, I don't know if you noticed, maybe it was just the branding of the trailer, but PlayStation got that Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt game. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, all right. Poor PlayStation fans on that one. At least as a fan of Bloodlines, like just seeing what they do with that series, and PlayStation ponied up for it. I was like, okay.
I was surprised by that too.
Enjoy your battle royale, everyone. Let's start off with the pre-show. Tunic arrives March 16th, 2022. This is an Xbox exclusive. This is like a Zelda-like game.
Yes, the cute joint.
How are we feeling about this one? I really like what I saw.
Yeah, it looked cool. I mean, they need games like that. I just feel like Xbox doesn't have a lot of games like that. And I think if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, the what was it, March, right? We're talking March on a release, I believe, or right. So
March 16th.
Again, it's a smaller title, but what this show taught me as we go on, a couple of titles to help fill those early gaps of 2022.
Yeah.
And I was like, because that to me is what are they going to do? Right. So again, smaller joint is going to hit a niche. I want to see how it does, but it looks cute. When I saw the guy, like, this is so Matty. This is so bad. I'm like, Matty's gonna be all over this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love. It's funny because I'm not a big Zelda fan. I've played a lot of Zelda games, but I'm not in love with them like so many others are. But I love games that take Zelda elements. Like, there's no denying to me the absolute influence of Zelda that makes other games around it better. So I get more excited for those spin-offs. I think it's why I'm big on Unsighted. I think it's why I'm big on this game, because it's like, okay, I see Zelda elements here, but they're going to change it to make it more for me. So yeah, Tunic looked great. This is one that's been hanging around the Xbox community for a while. I remember Gamescom. Gamescom, Randall Cheap was really upset with that. I can't say without laughing. Randall Thor, love Rand. He was he was upset that there was no Tunic at Gamescom. Yes. Like, where was that one? So he's the one who kept that game in my head. So when this showed up finally, it was really good to see it. Looks like they're ready to commit to launch. And as you said, I'm glad that they're setting up for the early part of the year, as they do, where they're going to have a 1-2-3 beat from February to April, which will be awesome. I'm happy that they're doing that. It looks like they're keeping that monthly, regular, exclusive release.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Outside of January.
Yes.
I don't know about January yet.
Yeah, don't know what they said.
Next one I wanted to talk about was Planet of Lana. It's coming in 2022, Xbox and PC. This is a 2D, it looked like exploration game. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this was the Recore looking game. It was riding a little robot like a horse, and very artsy, very ambiguous trailer.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about this one?
I actually like this one a lot. Okay. I still don't know enough about it, but it was giving me Star Wars vibes. It was giving me, what's the new name? What, Force Unleashed? What's the new name with Rey?
The planet, right? Oh my god,
I forget right now.
Jaka.
Yeah, like that the side scrolling part. It was just giving me that energy, and obviously female protagonist, whatever. And I'm like, okay, I want to see more. You have my attention on the art style and Jakku. Jakku. There we go. Jakku. It was really giving me that type of vibe. But I'm like, all right, I just want to see what else you can do on it.
This is so accurate. It's a great comparison.
I loved what I saw. Like some, what's funny? Some games, it's the atmosphere as far as where the game's located, and sometimes the atmosphere is the character to me. And if I like that you're doing something different or something that seems familiar to pop culture, then you got my attention. So Planet of Lana got my attention. I'm like, yeah, I want to know more. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. They're defining it as a 2 or 3D side-scrolling sci-fi adventure game. So it looks like the trailer was in 2D, where I think the rest of the game might open up. But this also has the soundtrack by Takeshi Furukawa, who's responsible for The Last Guardian, which was I wasn't over the moon about The Last Guardian. I thought it was pretty flawed. I get why people thought it was very charming. But its soundtrack was no snoozer. So I think that'll enhance this game a lot. But yeah, I'm with you, Cog. This one looks really interesting. It was another one of those trailers that you look at. I think a lot of indies do this. You go like,
yes,
what's going on here?
Yes,
I don't really know. I'll see you in the next trailer. And that's where the real determining factor is. But kept their cards close to their chest. And again, this is another game that was coming to Xbox and PC. This was an exclusive, so it was good to see them lock that one down.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax coming to every console but Xbox March 17th, 2022. Man, like there was these low-hanging fruit just all show that I was like, oh, nice JRPG here, get Xbox in them. They got none of them, man. They got none of them. I still, it's all they're doing, lip service on the JRPG front, lip service, because this was obvious. This was obvious. You are there for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Of course, y'all know. Diehard Persona fan here. It's no secret Matty loves his Persona, his claim that it needs to be on Xbox. But even like PlayStation and Switch fans are losing on this because they don't even port Persona 4 Golden. Like, Atlas is weird. I don't know how else to put it. Like, Atlas makes what people in the community literally call it Atlas decisions. Like, they just Atlas that because they do weird things like this. So before I go on my whole tirade, I want to hear from you, Cog, on Persona 4 Arena Ultimax getting ported. But this is one that is not going to be on Xbox.
Bro, I went in on the stream. I went in. Solve was laughing because this is Solve's argument. Let me give Solve his flowers right now.
Yeah.
Because part of the big Sega Xbox flirtation, right? What we've been talking about. He said, Cog, he's like, until I see Persona and those type of games, I'm not sold in, right? And I said, you know what? I do feel you on a level because Atlas seems to beat to their own drum. And it's weird because they're technically in the building that Sega, they're under here and Sega should be here. Sega should be saying, you do this. But Atlas is like, fam, we do what we want. And I don't know why. And here's the thing that hurts for me. I'm a fighting game guy. So I'm like, everybody's like, well, I'm seeing my chat, like, oh, this ain't nothing. They can miss it. No, you got to have everything. You've got to have this. And it pissed me off. And I'm looking at as soon as the trailer ends, I'm like,
yeah. No, they did it in your face in the beginning. There's like Teddy standing there and he's like, it's going to be on PS4, Switch, Steam. And I literally right away went, no, Xbox, are you fucking kidding? Yeah, like
Switch too.
Yeah, dude, bro. I don't know what it is, but here's the thing that's weird about Atlas. Like, they don't have Persona 5 on Switch, but they have Persona 5 Strikers, the follow-up. They don't have Persona 4 on any other console except the Vita and PC, but they have the Arena storyline follow-up to Persona 4 Golden on other consoles. Like, what they're doing alone makes no sense. What Xbox is doing to not get in on that. Here's a fun fact that'll blow everyone's friggin' mind. Persona 4 Arena is back compat. The first Persona 4 Arena is back compat. Ultimax is not. You had every reason in the world to be like, all right, let's get this one. Because what's interesting is this Arena Ultimax combines the two stories. So they're not split into two games, which gives it a pretty meaty narrative, honestly, and a good one at that. Like, it's a good story. So, like, Xbox had every reason to be here because they talked about legal and technical limitations. Okay, you couldn't get it in back compat. We can't put our Ultimax disc in there.
Right.
So it's like, okay, let's get the new version that we could pay for because I own the copy. It's on my shelf.
Salute.
This game is I bought it launch day, so it's no different.
Tell me about it because it looks great.
Yeah, dude. But this game, it's like $90 on eBay, maybe a little bit more to get a complete box. And so yeah, we're looking at a game that's really expensive on the third party markets. And I think this is something Xbox should have been in on. I'm biased. I love Persona with all my heart, but like I just want to see Xbox be a part of that. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like, and I say it not even as just an Xbox fan, but I just want Xbox fans to know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. I want them to know. I know a lot of them play other consoles, but for those who don't, like, I want them to know why I cherish this series so much and what they're missing out on, man. Persona is some of the best shit out there. Maybe not the arena fighting games to some, but like even in those, there's so much style, so much love for the characters. And the most surprising thing is the stories are legitimately good in these games because, the way Atlas, I always give them their roses for this. Atlas takes such good care of their Persona spinoffs. Like, they are heavily involved in them. They do not just, here you go, make us some money. Like, they are involved. They help develop the story. Even the rhythm dancing game. Shout out to anyone who's ever played Persona 4.
I've seen it. I remember walking past it at E3. And people getting into
Persona dancing game had a really good story. Like, they care about that stuff. So if they care, they should care to get it out there. And all I'm hoping for at this point is like a massive megaton port drop on Xbox. Like, I'll end my tangent here. When the trailer fires up, you see the 25th anniversary, which if anyone remembers on a Defining Duke episode, they got about, I think, 5 announcements left. We see the whole screen of all the Persona games. They zoomed into Persona 4 for this one, right? So that to me says that they're going to have another trailer. They're going to zoom into Persona 2. They're going to zoom into Persona 3, maybe 5. I'm hoping that they zoom into one of these. We see Persona coming to Xbox. Like, to me, that is what I think would be the redemption. But this is just disappointing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I want to add on to that. You got me thinking. You made a good point. The only thing I could think about was that, obviously this Xbox and Sega thing is more recent, right? And the only thing I can think of is Atlas was definitely beaten to their own drum. And I don't know, from a resource standpoint, they were already locked in to Switch development and what's called development. So I'm going to be nice for once and give them the benefit of the doubt and say, maybe it's one I know for once on this subject because I'm really tight. I was upset. Like that maybe the situation that development resources were already assigned. Now that thing happens with Sega, maybe it's what you said, which is okay. It's late, so maybe Xbox and them say, all right, we're gonna do all these games, Persona 5, all that, and we're gonna do almost like a big dump. Because if you remember, Yakuza happened like that.
Did it really? Was like I think you're right.
It was a huge dump. You got all the Yakuzas at one time on Xbox. And then, Like a Dragon then came. So the hope, that's what I'm holding out with. There is some precedence here that we do get it all at one time because it makes no sense. It really doesn't. Because I didn't even know. I'm going to go on back a pat now because you're telling me now I got to get the disc for that joint. For
the issue is that's the original Arena. There was Persona 4 Arena. And
break it down to me. Educate.
So yeah, there was the Persona 4 Arena. The first one, which is the weaker product, is back compat. Arena Ultimax, the one they're porting, is not. So that's the problem. So yeah, it's like you have no access to that product at all. It's not even like you can say, kind of like what people say about when Aspire ports like KOTOR or whatever, and you see it on PlayStation, you see it on Nintendo. I'm glad Xbox doesn't play that game. They're like, yo, we got back compat. We don't need it, right? Like I respect that. But this is one of those situations you don't have the alternative. So it should be available for sale. Because look, we're talking a port. You can get near replicant, but you can't get something like Persona 4 Arena.
Good point.
I think it's got to almost fall more on the side of Atlas. You have to wonder with what you said, resources, than Xbox. Because to me, this seems like you get Tales of Arise, but that's a big game. But like you get Tales of Arise, but you don't get this. Like I just look at what they have got. You're getting the Somnium Files next, or I'm sorry, Nirvana Initiative, I think it's called, next year. But you're not getting this. Like, what's the cadence? What are the deals like here? Is it a development thing? Like, how much do they have to fork over? I'd love to learn more about this. Like, I'd love to talk to someone at Xbox about this, because to me, I'm just like, the decision making is inconsistent.
Yes, the optics seem weird. It doesn't mean. Good point. I agree completely with everything you said.
Well, let's talk about something really hype. So we knew, we had a really good feeling. It was a primary reason for the delay of this show. We got our Hellblade 2 gameplay. Oh man, Cog, just take it away.
Woo, first of all, put your ninjas up. I got my ninja shirt on it. Put your ninjas up, bro. Because let me tell you something. First of all, I got to send a recipe shout out to my brother, LordsOfGaming.net, original co-founder with me, Kevin Alexander, aka iDizzy. You know what I mean? And the reason why I bring his name up, and when it comes to Ninja Theory, is we would have this battle, Matty, right? And he'd be like this Xbox Game Studios, all the announcements. So I'm like, yo, what's your first draft pick, son? And he's like, yo, I'm like Obsidian. He's like, yo, Ninja Theory. So we battle. Who's the best? And I'm like, bro, you ain't got nothing for Outer Worlds. He's like, Hellblade. He said, Cog, I'm telling you, Hellblade 2, Project Mara, he's going in. And it's so crazy because he knows I'm a hashtag just one kind of guy with the cinematic stuff and all that. And even though Hellblade's not a new IP, so technically it doesn't qualify, but we know everything else is it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm blown away, and I'm just thinking about my brother. And I'm like, he'd be smiling right now. He'd be selling me, Cog, I told you, this is it. There's nothing. Bro, graphical fidelity. Let's just get to it. This is one I couldn't believe. There were times where I'm like, okay, they're telling me this is gameplay, this is in-game.
You were waiting for it.
Yeah. Bro, I'm like, did it start? Like, it is so amazing looking.
Yeah.
And the thing that got me, the amount of characters on screen with Senua, right?
Good call.
Going into that cave. The lighting, right? The craziness. But the thing that hit my heart, because I'm such a Hellblade fan, was I'm hearing the individual voices and the psychosis aspect. And that's what makes Hellblade so special. You know, that we should do it. Okay, baby. All right. Like that gets me every time. And they know how to do the mental health thing. So I don't know what the hell was going on. I don't know what they were fighting. This thing looked crazy. It looked massive. It was mind-blowing to the point, I'm going to be real with you. After that Hellblade trailer, it just, everything else looked kind of like regular.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. It was on another level. It really was.
Another level. And I don't know if it's Unreal Engine 5. I didn't do my research on the tech, but Ninja Theory is just on another level right now. When it comes to graphical fidelity and that immersive style, #just1 kind of gameplay, like it is
using Unreal 5, by the way.
Oh God, it's over. It's over. Like that is something for them to have something at the Game Awards. We all thought it was going to be there. We delayed the show for this. Bravo, kudos. Cannot wait.
They made it worth it.
Wow. Matty, what was you saying? What was you thinking?
I'm in the same boat as everyone else that I don't think it's an original thought, but I remember watching it, waiting for it to go to gameplay, and you can watch my stream reaction. I'm like, yo, is this gameplay right now? And it's when they transition, you see the familiar like Senua jog, and I'm like, this is gameplay. My friends are like, no, it's not. I'm like, this is gameplay. Like, I've played Hellblade. This is fucking gameplay right now.
Talking.
And I'm like, the fact that we even have to debate this is insane, because it's not even like Starfield, right? I remember Starfield came around, people were like, oh, CGI, and I'm like, it was an in-engine gameplay trailer. Like, sorry, but this is mostly what the game's gonna look like. It wasn't even that, man. Like, what we were seeing here for Hellblade 2, I think was legitimately for its time right now. And as we see more games on Unreal Engine 5, we'll see those lines blur. But right now, like, we had an unprecedented reveal. Like, we Ninja Theory came out of this optically looking so above the pack. You know, I remember, Cog, on this show, I got crucified for daring to suggest that Ninja Theory could be Xbox's Naughty Dog. But I think if what we saw there, granted, it's a bite-sized piece, they got to prove the product, but if what we saw there delivers like what we were witnessing, I think they got it. I think they got it right there. They got a obsessive perfectionist studio that when they come around, they're going to deliver that top-tier, high-quality, must-play content, because this game looks like an experience. Like, you could even tell through a YouTube stream, like the sound, as you said, like you could hear it popping in different ears, like everything, a collective visual audio experience. And what's amazing is this looks so good, and they didn't even show the stuff that they were training for. They spent 2 years. They spent 2 years with the animators as well as the main actress Melina combat training to prepare for this game. Like, they went all in on it, and they didn't even show that part. They showed her throwing spears.
Bro,
like, what?
Yo, they just on another level. And I don't think you were out of pocket for making your statement. Look, you're totally right. Like, Ninja Theory we still have to see the final product and see all the other different mechanics of it. But what we know from Hellblade 1, right? Now we know they're opening it up more. From my understanding, the team filmed the terrain of the whole Iceland. The level of detail they're going through, what you talk about the weapon, it is insane. And it's a flex. It's a flex to show Ninja Theory is about business as part of Xbox Game Studios. And look, I got to bend the knee right now. As far as outside of Coalition on the Xbox Game Studios, when it comes to pure graphical fidelity, Ninja Theory is doing something different, because this was the excitement. This is why Dizzy was so excited. When they got acquired, we got to remember, Hellblade was done with such a smaller budget, and that stood toe-to-toe. Hellblade 1, that stood toe-to-toe with a lot of AAA big boys. So that's what made them excited. And now to do this, the potential is outstanding. Kudos to them. They stole the show. It wasn't even close. It was like, Hellblade got this. Whatever all y'all doing, whatever y'all doing, kid toys and fun stuff, that right there, I've never seen. It was a next-gen moment. Like, really, I've never seen anything like that.
Exactly that. Well said. Yeah. Next gen moment. I looked at it and I said, that's why I bought my console.
Yes.
And not only that, but again, beautifully said by you, when they were purchased by Xbox Game Studios, this was the image we all had in our head. The idea of when we lay our eyes on their next game, you see what happens when Xbox is behind you. And make no mistake, I'm not saying Xbox is suddenly going to go on a buying spree. People are going to see that.
Yes.
And if the game comes out well, it's a domino effect. They're going to see Hellblade 1, Xbox acquisition, Hellblade 2, and be like, yo, they'll bring us to a new level if we got the talent, because they got the money. And you could see money was spent here. Hellblade 2 did not disappoint, made it worth delaying our show for.
Yes.
Incredible looking title. Cannot wait to learn more at probably E3 next year.
Oh yeah. That was a moment. I agree.
Next, we had Evil West. Wanted to talk about this one. This is another good-looking game. This is the kind of the cowboy western dark fantasy game with the beat 'em up mechanics in it. You see that stuff? I thought this one looked good. It's co-op, by the way. I was looking it up. It's co-op.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was co-op.
I thought it was based off the end of the trailer. You see two people come in, and I'm like, okay, is that co-op? And I was looking it up to see if there's a release date. It said 2021, so I'm assuming it got delayed. But this game looked awesome. Did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mirror your sentiments 100%. I was like, what is this? This looks amazing. Got the feel, futuristic vibes, dark vibe. I love the camera panning, the way it was, over them. I'm in. I'm all the way in on this. I was like, this looks good. Like, yeah, Evil West. I was like, I remember saying on shit, you got my attention.
Yeah.
I'm in now. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, this is I'm just double checking real quick. Yeah, this is published by Focus Home Interactive, and
my peoples. I like.
Focus Home, man. They do really good work in the AA space, and I think they're smart to take full advantage of the Game Awards because their games look a lot like a AAA game, but don't necessarily play as one. But it was to me, it was a third-person Doom. Like that's how I looked at it because if you notice when he weakened them, they would have that kind of when you get them in the kill state in Doom, like that you see that orange glow over them. You press a button and you just rock their shit.
And you just go. Yep.
Yeah. Evil West had that, and you see the guy like these big electric gauntlets just pop, 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 light them up. Such a cool moment there. I was really impressed by this one. So this is coming out in 2022, though. No other real details on that, but Focus Home, man, they publish really good games. They haven't missed much in my book. For those who want to have references, A Plague Tale Innocence, Vampire, like some of my favorite games, like come from this publisher. They do a really good job.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've been lucky to interview with those guys at conventions and stuff. Their showcases, I always felt when I went to their showcase, they punched above their weight. All their stuff, like you said it perfectly. Double A, but with the AAA feel for the most part, minus a couple things. But whoever's doing the talent acquisition there is doing a phenomenal job because they really do a good job of showcasing their games.
Right on. We also had Star Wars Eclipse. This is one of the beginning reveals. This was by Quantic Dream. There was a leak that Quantic Dream was working on a Star Wars game. It would be open world. We learned a little bit more about it. We learned it was set during the High Republic era. And as someone who's been reading some of the High Republic books, this was nice to put some visuals to it because when I saw some of the creatures in the beginning, I was like, are these the Tempest? Like, I'm not sure. I don't know if they actually were, but like the way they looked was how I think the book described them. So to hear that, for those who don't know, the High Republic is what's called the Golden Era for Star Wars. It takes place between the Old Republic and the prequel era. So it's a time of Star Wars utopia, pretty much. And so the way that they portrayed it looked a little more grim, like something was inbound. And I think that would be the Tempest. That would make a lot of sense. But I really was interested in this one. What did you feel about Star Wars Eclipse?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, outside of Quantic Dream's other issues with studio, I actually like their games. And I like the vibe of this. Shout out to the dude on the drums. And I look crazy. I was like, what's going on? Like, it was just a different energy. I don't know a lot about Star Wars lore, but I am excited about the visuals and the vistas and everything that it was showing. It looked really good. I have to admit, Star Wars Eclipse, I'm definitely interested. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and it's also going to be really cool to see Quantic Dream do something different. This is apparently not going to be like their normal work, right? Last thing we saw from them was Detroit Become Human. And I think you're a huge advocate of that game, right?
I'm a big fan of that game.
And so how are you feeling of them transitioning from Detroit to something that seemingly is open world, more action focused? Do you have confidence in this ability? Because it's a pretty big step to decide.
This is a big step for them. Make no mistake. You're absolutely right. That's a good point. When you're in those narrative choice driven Telltale type games, that locks you in. You can make graphics look better. And I want to give them their props in the sense that Detroit Become Human is a beautiful game, like looking game, like pure visuals. Like I remember on PS4, I was like, this is a next gen looking game to me. So I think engine-wise, I'm not worried about them. Graphically, I'm not worried about them. I think where it comes down to is, again, it is different to be in fixed camera angles and all that stuff, but then when you do an open world, I want to see how the talent translates there. So, that's not easy. We have to see. But look, they look like they got some good people, from a technical standpoint. I'm willing to give them a chance. And for Star Wars to kind of trust with that license, it's a big thing too. So we got to see.
Choice and Consequence fans are about to be eating good between KOTOR Remake, and now they're saying that I'm reading here from the Star Wars blog. Star Wars Eclipse will feature an original story and unique characters, each with their own paths, abilities, and roles to play in the tapestry of events that could alter the carefully balanced piece in the uncharted section of the Outer Rim. Star Wars Eclipse will be an intricately branching action-adventure game that can be experienced in multiple ways, putting the destinies of an array of playable characters in your hands. Your choices will be at the heart of the experience, as every decision can have a dramatic impact on the course of the story. Through these decisions, players will forge their own legend in the golden age of the Jedi. It's currently in the early stages of development at Quantic Dream Studio in Paris, France, and Montreal, Canada. So how are we feeling about that? I mean, action-adventure game with choice at the heart of it.
Bro, that's why I like Quantic. That's why I like Detroit. Detroit was so good because the little nuances, every single thing mattered, and it could branch off, and you could get all these different things. Now, I doubt it's going to have that level of complexity in a Star Wars game, but the fact that it exists, that to me is the DNA of what they like to do. They're excellent with the choice stuff, and yeah, man, I love it. I love now that you told me that. Oh, it's on. It's on. This is going to be the Star Wars game outside of Jedi Fallen Order. This is the other one that's going to be for me. I loved this type of stuff. And of course, come on, the KOTOR to go. Come on, I don't even mention that. It's the go.
I gotta make sure that you're on my train here. This is one. It's not like Destiny 2, right? I know that's your train. It's like, all right, I let Cog ride away. But we're in this together, all right? Because if it fails, I need someone to suffer with me.
Yes, absolutely. We with it.
Somerville got a new trailer. This is coming out in 2022, exclusive to Xbox and PC. Looks pretty solid overall. I didn't have much to say on this one. This trailer and this game really hasn't spoken to me much. I know you were pretty interested in this one, so you'll probably have much more to say than I.
Yeah, no, this is all me. This is little snafu, I think, by Jeff, because
I agree. I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, because he was like, yo, this is the first time, and I think maybe first time on the Game Award stage, because this is not this was at the Xbox showcase, because I remember this game vividly. I mean, for me, I'm always about those sometimes either 2D atmospheric storytelling type games, like an Inside. Like one of my greatest games of all time is this game called Another World, and it was made by one guy named Eric Chahi, who's like one of my gaming heroes. Like I actually got a chance to meet him. He's a French guy. Yeah, dude. Bro, I was like a kid. Like I was like, I bend the knee. This is my hero. Like that game is the epitome. You really need to play that game. That game is timeless. It's called It's called Another World. Type that joint up. It was also the other old name of it. It used to be called Out of This World. What is this? I think it's Another World in the US. Play that game. That game still holds up to this day. Cinematic storytelling.
Another World 15th anniversary edition.
Yes. There we go. And anybody who's in OGs that's listening,
an SNES game. Wow.
Yes, Max Aruba. Yeah, if y'all my OGs know what I've just said right now, y'all know you got to play that game.
Should I play the 20th anniversary edition on Steam?
Yeah, because basically they just added like some little extra graphical thing, bro. Play that game.
I see why. I can see why.
Yes. Right. Now here's the thing. Like, I love games like that where the game, you don't know what's going on. The game is not holding your hand. Think Inside for its time, right? And I don't know if we never talked to you if you're an Inside guy or not. I never
played it.
Maddie, I gotta come for you. We gotta stop Duke right there. This is a Duke to Duke check. Now, how you be checking me like, Cog, you better play this. You better play Dead Space. You better play Another World. And you better play Inside. And it's like a niche genre. I even call it its own genre. These games are so beautifully crafted. And they got a little bit of darkness to them.
They're not even that long either. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Bro, that was the one Phil Spencer was going crazy for, was Inside. But yeah, back on point.
What was the other one from the Inside developer? There was
Limbo. Limbo is hard though.
I haven't played that one either.
It's good. It's really brutal though. Like Limbo, you might throw a controller at the screen, but it's good. It's good. me personally, you still should play it. But me personally, Inside is truly better than Limbo. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to start with Another World. It's something. The way I say all this for Somerville, that's what Somerville reminds me. You got the husband, the wife looks like a dog. You don't know what's going on. It's just this atmospheric 2D storytelling that just looks great in the art style. And I'm in. I'm all in. I cannot wait to see what's going on with that joint right there. So Somerville is me. Cool to see it again, but it wasn't a debut trailer.
I really want to try out this Another World game.
Yes.
This looks really, really interesting.
That game was made by one man. All these other games inspired from him. Inside, Limbo, Flashback, all those great games are inspired by this game. That game changed my life. I remember playing it on Genesis. I was like, yo, what is this? And people would watch. That's a great game to stream. Wow. Stream that game. That you can be like, you be like, yo, what do I do here? What's going on? All right, okay.
Yeah, because it says it's got action platformer that released across more than a dozen platforms since its debut in '91.
Bro, on an Amiga. Oh, I love Eric Chahi is a legend. There's some people I thought I would never meet. Yu Suzuki is one. That's my Sega OG.
Yu Suzuki,
arcade game.
Yeah.
Right? And then Eric Chahi, I told him to his face, I was like, your game changed my life. He went away from the games industry for years. He finally came back, made a VR game. It's called Paper Beast. It's okay. You know, but I was just happy to see it.
World.
Yeah, it's no Another World. Another World is legendary.
Well, I'm glad to see that there's a connection there. I can see why people would be excited. Maybe I'll be more excited for Somerville after playing Another World. Definitely potential there. What I am excited about, though,
let's go.
10 years after the original. There's no release date on this one, but when it's there, I am marking it on my calendar. Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2. This looks fucking good. I loved everything I saw about this thing, man. The vibe set of the trailer, because right away I was like, yo, these Space Marines are like the Brotherhood of Steel. They came in, wipe them all out, and they walked away without saying a word. And the grunts are standing there with their guns like, okay. And then it cuts to this gameplay. Dude, I remember the first one was compared to Gears of War so much, and this gives me those vibes again. I love what I saw here. Are you in the same boat as me?
Yeah, this thing looks phenomenal. Now, this is where you can get me. I've never really played any Warhammer games.
I've only played a handful myself. Carrick was the Warhammer guy. Like, he's the guy you go to, in my opinion. If you want to know, like, is this Warhammer standing up to the rest? Because I've played, like, Vermintide 1 and 2. I've played, let's see here. I played the new one that came out, Necromunda Hired Gun, which is, like, you play as a mercenary in an underworld area, and so you go out on missions and you hunt down people, and it was a cool game. It was supposed to be Doom-like, but the budget just completely undercut the game's potential. A rare focus home miss. But yeah, there's a ton of Warhammer games. This is like a full-on platform that they just have spun off and spun off and spun off. Space Marines came out, though, 10 years ago, and this game, I have not played it, but I remember people saying, like, this was a good one. It's a good one. So for them to give it a sequel a decade later, I was shocked by this. I was shocked to see it, because as I was watching, I'm like, oh, surely they're going to rebrand it. And they're like, no, Space Marines 2. Yeah. Really awesome to see there. And then you got the dude on stage holding.
That's what I was about to say. The J. And you could tell he was a fan of this series. You know what I'm saying? And he was talking.
Henry Cavill, like that kind of parallel there.
Yes. And that's why, back to what I was saying earlier, you learn when you give people time to talk and you see the passion and stuff like that. I think shout out to him, man. He's a little nervous that the original, the dev was a little nervous getting that one of those guys. But yeah, man, it was so cool to see. And that game looked beautiful. I'm in. I've never played one before, but I'm playing one now, because that one, I think the only one I did play is what you said, Vermintide. I think I played that one of those joints.
Vermintides, that one a lot of people have played. Probably the best Left 4 Dead clone, Back 4 Blood, since Left 4 Dead has come out. It's crazy what happens when you make something original. Anyway, this is a PS5, Series X, and PC game, so that's why we said one thing I really liked that we saw at the show was a lot of next-gen exclusive games. That was very, very, very nice to see that this box will be getting exclusive use quite soon.
Yes, very much so.
By the time some of our listeners hear this, it'll already be out. Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to the Epic Game Store on December 16, 2021. I wanted to note this because, of course, while we do Xbox, PC is very much a part of what we do here on the show, but also everywhere but Xbox, Cog.
This one I can't get too crazy on because
Yeah, no, it's not like Persona. I agree.
it's not like this one is not like Persona. It's just like we knew about Epic's Game Store's relationship with Sony. That I remember reading early and looking into as far as putting stuff on PC. But to me, this one just screams Square Enix got the bag, and that this is timed exclusive thing, but it definitely feels extended. It feels an aggressively extended exclusive. They know the value of Final Fantasy VII Remake not being on an Xbox platform. And I just feel this is Sony flexing. We'll take this Epic Game Store bag though, right? That's what's going on here. I don't really think there's much Xbox can do in this one.
No, I don't think so. I mean, think about it. In 4 months' time, it'll be 2 years since it's come out, which is crazy to think about, right? It feels like 2020 was just yesterday when I was reviewing this game during the pandemic, and just wild to think about how quickly it's passed by. But Xbox fans have been looking for this one for a while. I do not blame PlayStation for locking this down.
I can't.
But I can't help but blame Square Enix for allowing a third-party exclusive to be locked down for this long and extending that window that clearly was not supposed to be going on for this long. But there must be something there. And I mean, it's a fantastic game. Money is the one that's there, right? But
that bag that they getting to keep it, to extend it, it was supposed to be just 1 year. Yeah. That's what I heard. That's a tremendous bag. And Square has shown, not to cut you, but they're going to take the bag. They're going to take the bag.
And they certainly did here. So that's coming to PC, though. It's integrated, so that means you're going to get the new Yuffie expansion there as well for those who are interested. If anyone wants to know if you should play it or not, Final Fantasy VII Remake is excellent. Really like this game. Just going with a couple expectations here. Story changed a lot. I'll just say that. And gameplay is superb. The music is superb. The music especially, I still listen to the soundtrack. If you look at my Spotify Wrapped that Jeff Keighley is promoting, you'll see on my Twitter account, top 5 Final Fantasy VII Remakes in there. Really
absolutely. It's in one of my cardio joints. You know what I'm saying? I got that in there. Yeah, I love, the classic Let the Battles Begin, all that stuff. And I was going to say also, shout out to Last Stand Media Crew. If you did get a chance to play it and want to talk about all the things, there's a lot of passionate narrative beats to discuss regarding how Final Fantasy VII Remake is handled. Check us out up on the Sacred Symbols Plus. That was the one your boy Cog hosted. Me, Addict, and whole galore, man. It was great, man. So check that out too. Once you guys get a chance to play
episode. That is an episode.
Yes.
This one isn't a game announcement, but it was a statement that I wanted to highlight here in our list of notes. Kojima will be at the Game Awards next year. So Cog, you and I both missed. I don't mean to put you here first, but it was just the order I wrote it in. You had Kojima marked down to be there with his announcement. I think it was a good pick, and I think you're still right, all right? So I don't want people to start getting on my man because I think you were still right. Because him saying that I'll be there next year, he only comes out when he's ready to show his game. I think next year we find out at the Game Awards what Kojima's been working on with Xbox.
Yeah. This one. Thanks for holding me down. This one was definitely. I was like, okay, here it is. All right, and then I'm like, he's not here. I'm like, oh no. Then he's announcing the movie. All right, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think what it showed me is the legal aspect of gaming takes way much longer than we think. When you talk about acquisition, you talk about letters of intent. It takes much longer, and if I remember, even things like the Bethesda deal and stuff like that. Was like a full year. The legalese, man, the process
to March.
Yes. So it's happening. I think you nailed it. I was just too ahead. I was too early. So next year, most likely, if not E3 stage and Game Awards
this
again.
This is your Hogwarts legacy.
Yeah, it's like
the board next time. See you next time.
Bro, I just want to know what he's doing. I want to know what he's making. I want to know what it's going to benefit Xbox and the cloud aspect. I'm very intrigued by all of this.
Like, I want to see. It's weird because to me, it'll be this flag that can be waved by Xbox fans, but almost to me like a false flag. It's like you got Kojima, but I look at Persona, I look at what's missing, and I'm like, have you truly won the battle yet?
Yeah,
right?
yes.
This is a good
Absolutely.
optics victory when they announce it, but like leading up to it, I want to see a little more JRPG presence.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep holding them to that because
no, good,
they're not addressing it.
good. No, you want what I consider boots on the ground. You want the real work
Yeah.
to really show that you're committed, and that you're absolutely right. Kojima is the splash. That's the optics, and
It's
it
what they did in the 360 era. They got
facts.
like a Lost Odyssey, a Blue Dragon, Infinite Undiscovery. They got these random JRPGs, which by the way, like all the ones they did get, I thought were pretty good, like really good. Especially Lost Odyssey. Y'all know I shout the good word of Lost Odyssey here, but there are plenty of JRPGs Xbox got on during the 360 era. It's just that they weren't there on a regular cadence. And like they got to get that because sometimes it's not about the big exclusives to satiate fans because you're just putting yourself in a corner more. You're like, why isn't this working? You're marketing to a small crowd. You're not just being there for them on these regular big beats that are not going to be exclusive. You're just getting these deals on I could go on, but I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
gonna.
no, trust me, I
I'll
get it.
spare the audience.
No, they're making strides when you see a Dragon's Quest, right? You see that type of stuff. But there's still, like you said, there's still a lot of gaps. There's a lot of holes that don't make sense. And they've got to show that commitment. They gotta, big splashes are great. That'll move the needle, but you gotta do the day-to-day work. And I'm with you. I'm completely I'm riding with you 100% on everything you said there.
This one was one of my games of the show, top 3. It's day 1 on Game Pass for those who are interested, so give it a second look if you weren't paying close attention. A Plague Tale Requiem. This one, man.
Yeah.
This looks like a true sequel. Another Focus Home game.
Focus
They're
home,
out
baby.
there, man. They're out there doing good work. And Plague Tale Innocence is on Game Pass, so anyone who's interested, I'm going to remind you one more time, play this game.
Yes.
I'm going to say exactly what I say every time because it's, I think, the best way to describe it in earnest. It's the best directed experience I think I had last gen. And I mean best directed across all games I played. Yes, even some of my favorites. Like this game, it's not my favorite game, but it does not waste my time at all. Like it's always doing something to move me along. It's thoughtful, but the way you have to manipulate light to get around the rats and use them as tools. You are a very vulnerable young girl, and it feels that way in a dangerous world. The story's emotional and impactful. You can see it's ripe with potential, but they didn't undercut themselves. Like a really well-managed game. And this sequel, Cog, in every true sense, visuals, scope, scale, budget, performance, gameplay, already looks like a huge step forward. This is what I'm excited about with 2022. Like what we were shown, it's weird. We get world premieres and then like they'd show something we already knew about. That part was annoying, but we got updates on games that I was hoping would look good, and they do look really good. So Plague Tale Requiem, I just wanted to give a really big shout out to this one. This one looks great.
Can't really add much more to what you said because that was really how I felt about them in general. I believe the original one had a 60 frame FPS boost and a lot of enhancements. So go play that if you haven't. And yeah, this is a beautiful game. This thing looks. I cannot wait. And the fact that it was a Game Pass, I believe, right, as well.
Yeah.
That feels like a steal. Like, cannot wait. And
it really does.
We got just one question.
Sure.
Release date, because there was a theme while we were watching the stream that I was noticing. And do we know the release date on this one? Did they give a time frame?
I think it's just actually, you know what? I do think we have one. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, while you doing that, because the theme that I noticed, not saying that this one is 2020, but did it give a month or anything, right?
No,
okay, cool.
I'm looking right now at the Xbox Wire.
Okay, cool. The only thing I did notice is there were a lot of people we're going to get into coming in saying that they drop it in February. And I'm like, I don't know if you want to do that, fam. So good. I'm glad that we're going to get, there's one in particular we're going to get into coming up.
Yeah, so, let's get into it right now.
Let's get into it right now.
Let's do it right now. Crossfire X campaign, long in anticipation. This was another Gamescom snub that people are saying like, hey, this should be a pretty safe bet. It wasn't there. It's finally there, and it's arriving February 10th, 2022. Cog, you looked like you had something to say, so let's get into it.
Yeah, like, this was one, obviously I'm not a Call of Duty guy like that stuff anymore, but this was one I have my eye on because I did like the fact that it was kind of being developed by two different parts. Like you had the multiplayer part, which I'm gonna guess is gonna be like a Counter-Strike or whatever, Call of Duty. Then you had like this Remedy single player part. And that's the part that intrigued me. I'm like, yo, I want to know what's going on over there. That's where I'm gonna be at. And I'm like, all right, when is it coming out? And it's supposed to be, 2021, it's coming. And I'm like, where's that? And then it's December. We like, yo, where is that? And then it just went dark. This game went dark. And I'm like, okay. So to see it pop up, I'm like, all right. Then they're like, February. And I'm like, no, fam, no. Don't do it. Somebody speak to PR marketing. No. You are going to get lost in the sauce, boy. I'm telling you right now. Bro, Elden Ring?
Yeah.
You really want to play? Man, like, it's too much stuff. Horizon?
Yeah.
You really want to play in that month? You really don't do your game a disservice. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
March it. April. I was hoping it was January, but it's just probably not just ready. But yeah, that's my only thing. I'm actually interested. But the other thing that makes the pill a little tougher is I'm intrigued, but I'm not like, yo, definite I'm spending this cash for this game, right? So this to me would have been a great Game Pass game. And I'm just like, I don't see that Game Pass logo. You gonna get lost in the sauce, bro. I'm telling you.
It's not Game Pass? Is it really not?
Check it out for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let me double check. Just because
I think on stream,
you assume.
Yeah, man. And I'm just like, if it's Game Pass, then I retract everything I just said, and I will take the L on that because I will definitely play if it's a Game Pass. But if it's not, and you want me to go spend, I don't know, fam. Crossfire X.
When it was announced, Crossfire X the first Crossfire game to come to console will launch first on Xbox One in 2020 with unique content for Game Pass subscribers. That's the multiplayer.
Unique content. Forget, that I don't know if that joint is. Let's see. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. No, I feel like it would have been.
Yeah, they would have blasted that from the rooftop. Yeah,
it would have been here when I googled it. Everything else was. Yeah, actually, I'm on the official Xbox page, and it would have Game Pass listed here. It does not.
It does not. And that to me, not that it's a mistake. I don't know what the financial aspect of what was going on behind the scenes, but that means they're going to charge money for this, right? Which, granted, get your bag. I mean, do your thing,
right?
If you couldn't get the Game Pass bag, it's not your fault or whatever. But the month you are dropping, I'm sorry, lost in the sauce.
It reeks of a game. It's got that Death's Door stink on it. Like, this thing's gonna be off Xbox in like 3 months. I can already tell. I just have a good feeling about that because it's gonna need it. It's releasing in a busy month. You're right. It's gonna get swamped. I know Xbox exclusive fans will probably go and play it, but like now it's not in Game Pass. I don't know this. I'm with you. Out of everything that we saw from Xbox, this is the one I wasn't like, yeah, I'm gonna go pay for this. It was very Call of Duty, and I can't imagine it's gonna be very long. Doesn't look like anything different, but that's the thing is, ever since Spec Ops: The Line, I always have hope for these military shooters that you can actually surprise me, because part of Spec Ops: The Line's biggest achievement is it deceives you. It's like, yeah, third person dude, bro, military shooter, but then you get an hour and you're like, oh, okay, first choice is a little scary, and it goes off from there. Have you ever played Spec Ops: The Line?
No, what you call it? My friend, I think Kai, one of my friends, was telling me about. Yeah, I missed out. They love it. They love it.
I remember I bought this game just because I was on my like achievement rampage. I was buying stuff from GameStop used. I was like, this, whatever. Right. I saw I got like an 8.5, and I was like, okay. That was when I cared about review scores. And I fire this thing up, man.
Talk to me.
Good third person action, and then you just get to this first choice, and you're like, oh, okay. And the way it plays with your mind, Cog. Really a unique game. Really screwed up too. I remember there were stories of people getting PTSD from playing this game. Like
really?
Yeah, like it was re-aggravating stuff. Like it was that kind of authentic. Yeah, really war-torn game. Really fucked up. But extremely memorable experience. I've replayed it a couple times. I would highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a gritty military shooter that again deceives you, and that doesn't ruin anything, because there's part of the charm is like when I played for the first time and many others did, you don't expect much and it really shocks you, but even if you expect that, it goes some places that a lot of people I don't think will anticipate. So just know, maybe Crossfire could be that. But that's a really a big wishing man.
It's a
moment
big
there.
wish. That's a big ask. I will say, Remedy. I'm excited to see what Remedy does in that type of space.
Yeah,
And I want to give them their credit on graphical fidelity. I thought it looked good when I first saw it, even before that, this latest trailer. So let's see what happens. It is. I think I agree with you though. It even though it's an Xbox exclusive, the fact that it's not on Game Pass and the fact that I think it'll be like maybe a quick death's door unrelease of that time exclusive. It'll come out to PlayStation and then maybe get what it needs to get financially on the back end and see what happens.
Yeah, because think of what's happening with Stalker. Stalker's not going to be around for long. Like, I think they already said how many months it's going to be on there. And it's like, okay. I mean, Stalker's a great get. That game, like, they showed gameplay screenshots for it. And it looks excellent. So I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, this is one you guys should be locking down. Really should be. And they're not locking them down. I'm like, okay, I get it. Because, like, you heard what we said about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like, it's weird. It's at that point, it's like, put it on all platforms and just put it on Game Pass. Like,
yeah,
it seems more effective at this point than exclusives on third-party
I agree. Yeah, because to me, it's like they're showing me they clearly don't want to do third-party exclusive deals. And I think even Phil mentioned that at one point. Like, he doesn't really like the timed exclusive deals kind of deal. So, and that's fine. So then put this on Game Pass, please. So that, and I don't know why that didn't happen. I'm very confused by that.
Yeah, definitely strange, but we'll be trying to play that anyway. Maybe we'll talk about it here if it's interesting to the audience. All right.
Yeah.
Next on our list here.
Let's get it.
Sonic Frontiers coming holiday 2022. Cog, I liked what I saw.
Yes.
Respect to Team Sonic.
Talk to me. You're very hard on them. Let me hear this.
Yeah. I'm finding my Sonic legs here, pardon the pun. And, I played Adventure this year and I was like, okay, I get, again, I said this during the movie trailer discussion. I was like, I get it. Like, I kind of get what people like about Sonic. Am I one of those people who's like, he's a cool character, he's got a good story? No. Don't get it twisted. But Sonic Frontiers looks immediately refreshing for a franchise that's been like plagued by monotony and the same old. I look at Sonic Forces, the last like real full Sonic release I think we got. And you look at this already, like open world, lots of temples to explore. Like,
yeah.
One of my biggest complaints is when you're racing through these Sonic levels, these they're so small and tight, and it hurts the game because you can't see where you're going sometimes. Not even because you're moving too fast, but the way the camera is and the speed you're going at, you can't see where you're heading. So the game, that's why Sonic Forces and so many other Boost era Sonic games were putting you on rails because you couldn't see. You couldn't have the control, the timing to react. So putting it in a nice, wide, spacious, open world, so smart. And I don't know why it never crossed my mind. I remember my friend, huge Sonic fan, read a leak to me. And this is what he described. It was like open world Sonic game. That leak also said that was going to happen. And they called it Sonic Frontiers. They're like, in that Sonic Frontiers game, there's going to be these little temples you go to, these portals that'll bring you to boost stages. So I think that's going to happen. It's going to bring you to different eras of time, which is very Sonic Generations, which, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to modern Sonic gaming, is the best one. I love Sonic Generations.
Respect.
So what I saw here, holiday 2022, I like. Only thing I didn't like is the beginning of the gameplay. The frames dropped pretty hard. And we've seen
caught that.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm so wary of anything technical when it comes to Sonic because you look at what happened with Sonic Colors Ultimate. Did you track that on the Switch? Like what was happening with the screen would turn like a bright red. I've never seen anything like that. Of course, Sonic 06 is infamous for being broken. Sonic Boom on Wii U, I think it was. Like there have been a lot of really, on a technical level, exponentially woeful games from the Sonic franchise, which is why in the modern era, it's like, I'm fucking hating Sonic, just beating this blue man up. I don't give a shit.
Slander.
But Sonic Frontiers showed really well. And I looked at it and went, okay, like this could be a turning point for them because I know open world fatigue is very real.
Mhm.
But they got something here that I think fits really well for the Sonic formula. Kind of like with Halo Infinite, where you're like, you know what, this
Yes.
doesn't feel forced. Yeah, we've seen it before. It doesn't feel forced, though. Kind of how I feel with Sonic
Mhm.
Frontiers. Cog, I got to ask, man, you're all in your
Yeah.
blue blur
Yeah.
outfit. How are we feeling about little Sonic Frontiers?
Very good. Very good. I mean, I'm with you though. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Sega kid first, always. Before Xbox, I'm a Sega kid. And Sonic is important. Sonic is important to get right. I remember playing the original and just being blown away with how fast the game could move like that. And that's when you heard terms like blast processing and all this other stuff in the Genesis era. But the thing about it is that I'll be honest though, and Sega kids probably gonna get mad. I don't always, I agree with you. I don't always feel his games really translated well. And that's why he never stood toe to toe in the hierarchy of the mascots. I mean, he was there, he was popular, he was cool looking, but Mario games was just better. It just was what it was. You just can't deny that. Now, Sonic had a couple of moments here and there, but I remember more moments of technically bad games or broken games. And even when he translated to 3D, it was kind of iffy on some time. He didn't make a great transition the way Mario made to 3D. So this I wanted to see, and it's so cool because obviously there's like a Sonic renaissance right now. You got the movie, you got the popularity, Sega's back outside, and I have to admit, like, I was getting a little Sonic Breath of the Wild vibe.
Yeah, dude,
You know what I'm saying?
same energy. They copied that shot one
They
for one.
copied that shot. I said, because Addicts yelling at me, they should. I was like, look, no, you need to do that. You need to do what your competitor does well and apply it to your game. And I'm with you. Just make sure technically it's sound, but the premise sounds good, looks good, and I'm excited. I'm like, all right. We might have something here. So
Absolutely.
I'm pulling for them.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, looking really sharp, Sonic. So
yes.
We got two more here on our list. Next is the Halo TV show on Paramount Plus. Cog, I think you're more of a TV movie guy than myself. Where are we at with this one? Because I saw it and I was like, I like Chief's armor. Thought it was really clean. I think it was Halsey we saw in the beginning. I was like, okay, this looks good. Didn't get a vibe really for the story or anything, but are you feeling good about this one because it didn't look awful?
Yeah, that's what it is. Like with Halo, I worry because it's like they'll come out here with the goofy suits and Party City looking Halo character. I don't want to see that. Like I don't want to see, when the stuff looked cheap and you like, damn, they messed it up. Like this looks solid. I was like, yo, I'm gonna have to pony up on this Paramount Plus to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like. Am I wrong for that, man? Paramount
you're not.
Plus, it's like it's not Amazon, not Netflix, not like where I'm at. Microsoft goes to fucking Paramount. Like,
that bag must have been nice. I know. Look, I'm with you. I don't like having to get no other subscription service just for this, but I am a Halo fan. I remember watching. This wasn't on any subscription service, but I remember when Halo had like a Halo Insider app and they were doing a pre-television show to introduce Locke. And shout out to Michael Coulter, who also plays Locke, and Luke Cage. And it was okay. You know what I'm saying? It was just giving you his backstory, Oni, his thing. And that was more of a, full up, kind of live action movie kind of thing. So I'm excited. I want to know where they go lore wise. I want to know, obviously, 117. Is this the true 1-to-1 kind of thing? Is this kind of like a spinoff of its own separate thing reimagined? But from what I see, I'm very, very particular. I'm very hard on stuff from Halo. This looked like it got potential. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I want to see what's going on here. We have to get Paramount Plus now.
Yeah. Again, my biggest takeaway really was Chief's armor. It looked incredible. It looked really, really sharp. So there was no money spared on that, which I think was very smart to do. That is the character, right? Not even like personality wise. Like the suit is the character, right? Yes. You're not going to see his face. So at least you don't think.
No, at least you don't think,
Yeah, at least you don't think. So yeah, that one was looking all right. And then the grand finale, Matrix Awakens. I saw you played this one, so I want you to take this away, Cog. What were you thinking about this Unreal Engine 5 tech demo? We were just talking about how great Hellblade 2 looks. So that's running on Unreal Engine 5. You got your hands on it. I just was too fucking peeved and honestly working my ass off to be able to get in on that. Wasn't crazy about it. So what are you thinking about what was there for Matrix?
Look, very impressive. There's some, I actually want to call out a nitpick though. There is one nitpick I had, which is, all right, so first it starts off and they're literally doing, you're thinking like you're just going to watch a movie version of Matrix 1. And they're kind of doing that. And then as it goes on, they introduce this new character, female African-American chick, really cool looking. And you're in the back of a car. And then it's like, it's the classic, I believe, Matrix 2 scene where you're getting the car chase, big freeway, agents are jumping from car to car to car, and then you got to shoot out the tires and stuff. And that thing looks photorealistic. Like, I'm like, what is going on? Now, granted, it's on rails. It's very scripted. You can only shoot the tires. I got to keep it real. But for what it's showing, the level of detail and the cinematic movie-like quality, I'm like, yo, this looks super impressive from a demo to that. So I thought that was just going to be it. Oh, no, the demo does not finish. So then after that, then you go into, they show like a panning over this Matrix City, right? They show, isometric filtering, all these different buzzwords are on the bottom left of the corner, and then they let you toggle it on and off in real time as it scrolls over the city. So you're seeing the geometry of each individual. I'm like, oh, that's actual. I'm thinking I'm watching a video of you panning. No, that's actually made in game. I'm like, oh, okay. Now y'all flexing. Now I see. And then the last part, which really part is that you finish that part, you go into the world. Now it's open world, Matrix. You're walking around, individual cars, realistic. It is a fully packed, dense city. NPCs walking by, they react to you if you touch it. They open your mouth like, oh, don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they keep like. There's a traffic system, there's weather system, there's night and day. You can toggle all this stuff on and off. The manipulation you can do is insane. Then they let you get in the car, get your little GTA on. And this is a big city, Matty. Like, this is like they took downtown.
How long was this? I didn't know this.
Yeah, bro, I thought this was just some little demo. No, bro, they let you go in. You turn into like GTA in Chicago, like a mock city. And then I even got out and just like spanned the world and looked at every little detail, like down to the what's some joints where in New York, when you pay the parking meter for the cars. Yeah. They got that. The traffic, like seeing people, what I noticed? It was so cool the way NPCs react. You would go to a light and you see the NPCs huddle up and wait for the light all together. They're looking around and then they cross. It's just all these systems going, and it just shows you like, yo, the future of video games is going to be bright with what Unreal 5 is doing. I'm very impressed. The only nitpick I would say in that part of the demo was that I felt like the character model wasn't as sharp a little bit. There was a little bit of, but on the edges of the character. The actual model itself looked good, but look, it's impressive. It's impressive. This is next gen tech. Future's bright. Hellblade, we know, is using lines of some of this stuff. When games, shout out! I want to give one shout out. Coalition.
Oh yeah,
they had to do with the development on the Xbox version of this, and we know their first game. One of their next projects is going to be an Unreal Engine 5 product.
Yeah.
So when it comes to graphical fidelity on Xbox, Ninja Theory and Coalition right now seem to be leading the pack. On showcasing power. And this is impressive. It's impressive.
Absolutely. Looks interesting, or sounds interesting, I should say, based off what you said, but that's all we got for the Game Awards, Cog.
Yeah. Actually, got one more.
Show.
Shout out to #just1 Wonder Woman. Wanted to shout that out. Only reason why is
Nemesis System.
Superhero character, WB Microsoft.
Get the wall.
WB.
I'm on the phone.
Solves all the problems. You get your Just One, you get your family game. We keep saying it. Make it happen. I heard they want, there's interest. So I hope they can get it. Oh yeah, I did hear there's interest.
Oh, yes. Dude, the thing is, there should be. You're right. This makes so much sense. I apologize to the audience for not bringing this one up, but yeah, There has to be. This is a single player game too. That's what they stated. And it gives me that vibe of like Indiana Jones, right? Like if you get in early enough, like when they bought Bethesda, you can assume now Indiana Jones, Xbox exclusive, get Wonder Woman in there.
Bro.
I'm saying, man, make Microsoft the DC console, mimic pop culture, make Microsoft the DC console. You will not regret it, Xbox. You will not regret it. The amount of people that will flock to you, man.
From my understanding, they are trying very seriously to make this happen. So we'll see what happens with, again, talks. You don't know how things are, if it's fluid, but they want it. Microsoft, I know Microsoft wants it. It's just a matter of who's that parent company. I forgot the logistics.
WB?
No, besides WB, there's another one that owns
AT&T or something. Yeah, like that.
I forgot the name of them. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the thing, but it would solve so many. And I was so excited because, I know we didn't see much of the game, but when I hear Nemesis system and it's going to have that, over the show third person flair, I'm ready. I'm ready, man.
Real quick, what do you think a Nemesis system in a Wonder Woman game's like? That's what I said in my video. I'm like, this sounds awesome. I love the Nemesis system. It's one of the most unique things that the industry offers.
Yeah.
But how do you twist that into Wonder Woman game? Like, at least in Middle Earth, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, granted, we've seen it, but the orcs, a common enemy you're going to be encountering. And I'm trying to reflect back on when I was reading Wonder Woman comics. I'm like, what was a common enemy, right? Like, I
would have to bring in King David for that. He's my comic book lore. He would know every aspect of her universe. But I agree with you. It sounds great on paper, but for me, I'm with you. Like, I don't know how it translates because I feel like you need a common type of enemy that could, remember, because the Nemesis system, which made it so great, was like, if they killed you or whatever, they remembered, and like, or this one, like, it was relationships based on your interactivity with so many people of this type of enemy. And that's what made it cool. So yeah, I want to know how they're going to use that, utilize that. And Attic is a huge fan of that system. And to me, that's next gen type tech, and I want to see them expand on it.
Absolutely. Well, it was a hell of a showcase. And with that, Cog, if there's nothing else left, shall we move on to news item number 2 and travel back in time?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Number 2. Breakdown of the development of Halo Infinite has just hit the web in time for the launch of the game, courtesy of Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. It's one that can be digested as, say, a hellscape of video game development or the triumph of Joseph Staten's intervention. Upon Staten's induction back into the Halo franchise, the first thing he did was remind the team at 343 how Halo has had historically horrible introductions to the public dating back to the original one in 2001 as an effort to regather morale. Staten also requested, successfully as we now know, to have as much time required to fix the game before releasing it, something that I think I can personally comment on now. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yep.
And you as well.
Yes.
The staffing at 343 was also unstable, partially because of its heavy reliance on contract workers who make up almost half of the staff by some estimates that Jason Schreier had acquired by his sources. Microsoft currently restricts contractors from staying in their jobs for more than 18 months, which meant that 343 was constantly losing talent that had gathered knowledge that was important. They couldn't renew these contracts. Halo Infinite's creative direction was also in a flux until unusually late in its development, where many developers described 343 as a company split into fiefdoms, with every team jockeying for resources and at one point making 4 to 5 games simultaneously. By summer of 2019, Halo Infinite was in what was called a crisis mode, and the studio decided to cut almost two-thirds of the entirely planned game, leaving managers to instruct some designers to come to the office and do nothing while the studio figured out the next move. Man. Where do we want to begin with this? This is huge, but it was expected. It was absolutely expected.
To me, it's justification. We talked about this. We talked about pay attention to the signs, pay attention to things even before the delay, and how they were corresponding, and the things that didn't make any sense. We talked about. I mean, I remember back, even before the Forge and the co-op, and I remember like, they had said it was going to have ray tracing at launch, and they were going to say all these ambitious things that just couldn't reach the target. And my fear at the time was like, don't get yourself caught up on this Series X release date that you have to have it there. Because as great as that is, what we're learning, That is what Microsoft wanted. Microsoft wanted this thing to be there, and there was internal pressure. And it goes to show you, first of all, they better give Joseph Staten his roses. Because to me, this whole account showed me, one, Joseph Staten truly loves Halo.
Yeah.
And for him to be on the sidelines, theoretically on a beach somewhere, and he's seeing Craig memes and he's seeing all this stuff going on, and he pick up the phone and he's like, yo, y'all need me to pull up? Y'all need me to come through? Like for Joe, that's...
Yeah.
He said, as far as I'm concerned, it's a team effort, yes, but he has to get his line. And I want to give... I know Bonnie gets a lot of crap. I want to give her flowers from the standpoint of not having an ego and saying, hey, we got this, right?
Accepting
say,
the help.
You know, right. And then not only accepting the help, transforming the help into more than the help. Oh, by the way, here's an offer, here's a position, here's a role, you know, if you want it, you know. So salute to them for transforming.
A good leader, right? Understanding you needed that guidance.
Yes. So that's why I said I want to give her credit, because I know even I've been critical at times of her. You know, I know a lot of people have been critical, but at the end of the day, here's the thing. But the thing that really resonated with me is, and I can't answer this because I don't know everything in Xbox Game Studio culture or just development culture, not just Xbox Game Studio, just any studio, right? This reliance on the contractors, like this heavy, if you're, you know, AAA, quad, whatever, that is an 18-month turnaround, so that the same people are not working on a game for the duration of the project. That is extremely high turnover,
man.
Yeah.
It's got to be a business decision.
And at the end of the day, it's like, this is 343. This is Halo. This is what made you Xbox. I'm wearing a 20th anniversary shirt because of this game. This game literally spearheaded you to be who you are in the games industry and to be respected, right? And yeah, you hear the stories about the tools and the engine, and you know, like I said, I'm hoping that because of Staten and them dodging this bullet and transforming this thing into something solid and salvageable, that this is a lesson learned, you know, that you cannot treat a franchise like that, and your studio culture has to change. So I'm curious what you think about all it, because I remember this came out before. I'm like, yo, Matty, I want to know what you think. Did you see this? Like, this report. Let's go.
Yeah. I think the one thing that really stood out to me was the 2/3 of the game being cut, because this was done in, it says 2019, and you can really feel that when you play it. Doesn't make it a bad game, but you can feel there's an exhaustion of the resources that are currently there. Again, I mentioned this in my review, but you have the main story, which takes place in the Pacific Northwest, which those biomes really don't diversify all too much. You see the Forerunner dungeons and the ship interiors, and like those are the only three you see throughout, and they just reuse them constantly. And I'm also talking like climax of the game. It doesn't matter where you're at with this game. You're gonna see the same environments. There's not like this, it's a big moment, show them something new. No, it's just, it doesn't happen. So you can feel a ton of stuff got cut by this game. The cutscene style, I always go into that as well. The cutscene style is extremely telling for Halo Infinite, because it's always, as you saw, Cog, she pulls out weapon in her hand, and then the camera rotates around them constantly. You'll see that same one-shot cutscene constantly. There's no like choreography. There's no shifting of camera angles. It's just the camera rotates. There's very rarely a pre-rendered cutscene. It just, it looks beautiful, but you can tell they really had to streamline a lot of things with this game. And again, it really, maybe to me, solidifies that they made the right choice to launch it when they did, because we were team delay, right, for the technical aspect, but a lot of us were also team delay for the content aspect.
Right.
And if they cut 2/3 and this is what we got, then to get that back, this game may have been in development for another 2 years or so. And it makes me wonder, if they cut all of that out, how much they want to add to this game first before doing their next big campaign thing, right? So how much do you want to do? Like, is co-op required to figure out, like, okay, we need to make this work on this base map in the Pacific Northwest, and then we'll figure it out for the, say, snow area. A lot of question marks that were floating around for me there, but to me, that was the one that spoke to me the most when it came to how much content was cut. Because again, it's a very fun video game, one of my favorites of the year, but you could feel it.
hmm I think the other thing that surprised me that I didn't know this was a gem to me, which was 343's frustration with being forced to deal with the tools of Bungie.
Mm.
And this, or was it their code name, Faber? What, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this Faber, inside joke is like they inherited hell, tech debt, and tech bankruptcy. So to their credit, these are the stories I like to hear, because a lot of times, let's be real, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm a Bungie fan, but I've always, I mean, Destiny, one of my favorite games. I love the studio. I love what they do, philanthropic efforts. I love what they do for the community. I have one of the best communities. Love that. But it's like, the thought process was like, yo, Bungie made the right Halo games and stuff like, and they did. They owe their credit, but you never hear about the back end and how that was. And now, one thing I got, matter of fact, give myself a little credit. I've always said for 343, they inherited someone else's child.
Mm-hmm.
That is not their baby. They are now the adopted dad. and people are now lambasted why this child is growing up in a certain way. So they've had to, in their defense, they've had to navigate that. But to hear them go in on the tools, and then you're talking about this engine switch, I was like, and then they making inside jokes about Bungie's tools. So I'm like, whoa, okay, So it's very interesting to me when I hear that, and you hear the other sides, because there's always multiple sides to the story.
And then you see them switch engines, and things look really good for them all of a sudden. So I think that could have been a big burden alleviated there, and maybe there's an indication there that there was a bit of living in the past. Like, Bungie got it right with this stuff. We cannot do it on our own, and I think it took like a back against the wall, do or die moment, like Halo Infinite, to say like, we got to just take a stand, go out on our own here. It reminds me a lot of Morrowind in a lot of ways. Like I do think this is a Morrowind situation. This report doesn't include it, but I do think if Halo Infinite bombs on a campaign front, and you have all of these issues with the multiplayer that we'll talk about, I mean, there is a talk to be had about what do we do with 343. You're not going to shut them all down, but do you just take Halo away from them? And I do think it was coming to that moment. They had, there's just a way that they went back to basics with almost like a soft reboot in a lot of ways. Like, to me, it's very reminiscent also of God of War. Like, it just had that energy of like, you're on notice right now. Like, you got to be right. You got to get this one right. And we're not going to say what's going to happen, but you probably got a good idea. You don't want to find out.
Oh yeah. And to me, it's foresight by stating, to have the leadership to say, look, let me tell you something. Like, this game was extremely important for Microsoft to launch with the Series X. You know what it was to go into that boardroom and to say, hey, all the stockholders, I know you guys are expecting this, but we cannot, for the integrity of the game. Those arguments don't get won unless you got enough cachet to really pull that off. It almost reminds me, I'm going back in Xbox history, but it almost reminds me, one of Peter Moore's greatest moment is going into that room. He said he feared for his life with Steve Ballmer talking about, yo, these red rings. If we don't solve this, he called it the Tylenol issue. There was an issue where Tylenol was killing kids, because you know how when we have Tylenol and aspirin now, you have that safety label.
Yeah.
And that ensures that it's legit. So what he said, how he sold it, he said, this is our Tylenol moment on Xbox. If we don't fix this, our brand will never be respected. And that's how I feel about Halo. If they didn't fix that, and this is your flat, and it came out like, bro. So salute to them, salute to Staten. And yeah, man, that report sounded like a mess, bro. They talk about fiefdoms, people not talking to each other, 4 or 5. That's a mess. But
I would love to see the other versions of Halo Infinite, right? Because it seemed like they went from, as the report said, they went from like a series of levels to open world, a la Breath of the Wild. And I mean, I think they made the right call, because on social media, I said this during my review, and it looks like I'm already correct. Like, you're going to see people fuck with the physics of this game. You're going to see that Breath of the Wild type stuff where like 2 years from now, there's Halo Infinite in its campaign. Like, what's this crazy thing someone's doing? Like, some guy, Mint Blitz, I think his name was, he used a gravity hammer. He slammed the ground, sent a mongoose forward, and then grapple shot the mongoose, and he just went flying across the map. Flying. Like, he was just in the air for forever. And I was like, yeah, it was crazy. And I'm looking at it going, that's what you're going to see. Like, people are going to go to crazy new heights, do crazy new things, just because the physics let you. And
And that's the thing, is that's why it got such high scores, is the ability to play and rather the way it plays, I should say, is really top notch.
Yeah, and final point, because I just want to emphasize what you just said, which is I think Staten's mindset was like, we have to nail the core gameplay and the fun, and they made sacrifices. We know about the emptiness, the barren in your review. They did make sacrifices for some things, but if you make the game fun and enjoyable to play, that can help mass. He even said something about the Marine AI, and I love what he said, because at the end of the day, I mean, in the article, I've always loved when you play Halo and you had the little Marines jump in, you feel like it's a part of your team. And the way the game was structured at first, they would only stay in one spot. They wouldn't move. And I'm like, oh, no, if that would have dropped, like, that's not Halo. So it's a lot here, man. Highly recommend reading this report. A lot of good nuggets in here.
I agree. Let's talk about PlayStation, because they had some pretty significant news this week. Xbox has relished in their Game Pass parade for the entirety of 2021 without many companies having much to say about it. On November 20th, 2020, president of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, spoke about a counterpunch to Game Pass, and come spring 2022, there may finally be an answer to the ringing bell. According to a report again from Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, PlayStation Plus and Now will effectively merge and ultimately do away with any PlayStation Now branding. Despite ridding themselves of the PS Now name, the report suggests that Sony will be investing in cloud gaming, just as we have seen Xbox bring to a wider audience over the last year. The service will be split into 3 tiers. The first one will have the same benefits as PlayStation Plus as you know it, which means free monthly games, online access, all that good stuff. Number 2, access to a catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. That's the direct quote. The third and final tier includes extended game demos, game streaming, and a library of classic PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games.
Something's missing. Favorite console of ours. Favorite handheld of ours. But
they ported most of those games, so I was like, all right, I get it. But how are you feeling about this Game Pass competitor from PlayStation? I have a lot of thoughts. I shared a ton of them on Defining Duke Ultimate since I talked individually for a while. I'll keep it light here. I kind of want you to go off on this one. This is all you.
Behold, Spartacus. As it rhymes, one of my favorite shows. I love me some Spartacus. Oh, look, this is when I first got the news. I'm like, okay, what are they doing here, right? You look at PlayStation Plus, you look at PlayStation Now. PlayStation Now, what is it, 3 to 4 million, probably not doing as well. Quality of the streaming, not as good with Gaikai. They added the ability to download the games. They got a ton of games, I'm saying, that's on it. But, I just looked at that as something they probably looked at as not as a success. Then you have Plus, which is thriving, is doing as well. They got PlayStation Collection. They got all these cool games that you can get if you're part of the service. That's doing phenomenal. To me, this is just, I'm looking at it as simple consolidation at first. Right. And you're adding value to this PlayStation Now service. I mean, just being bundled in. I don't necessarily care for having to pay a third tier to access back compact games.
I am with you, sir.
That is low key you finessing me on that part. I don't know how I feel about that. I think this is typical Sony in the sense of, I always feel they look at the trends, but they're the market leader over Xbox. Obviously, Nintendo's market leader technically, right? I always get corrected. People are like, "Yo, Scott, you never say yes, Nintendo." But for the sake of argument, exactly, I always consider Nintendo beat to their own drum. So for the heavyweight fight, I shouldn't say that either, but that's wrong. But at the end of the day, between Xbox and Sony, Sony's definitely the leader there. So I think they just dipped their toe. Because everything else they're doing is fine on the hardware, retail, physical side. They're fine there. So I think they dipped their toe. The key to me with this whole thing is going to be that second section that we heard, PlayStation 5 games, which is what's going to happen there. Is that an eventuality? Do they? Because if you look at it on paper in comparison to Xbox, right, this is cool that you're consolidating, but I can't take it as a Game Pass competitor yet. Until you are more serious about your first party offerings. But I will say this, even if let's just say hypothetically, they don't, and there's no day and date, right?
Right.
I do like them in the service space to push Xbox.
That's how I was. Yep.
And that's where I'm at with it. This is one of those, let's monitor them. Let's see how they do. And look, at the end of the day, it's still Sony. It's still classic games. It's still tremendous IPs. Even if they don't come day and date, there's still tremendous stuff. Like, I'm not going to be disrespectful here. I'm just saying, if you're going right now, if the fight was right now, get in the ring right now, head up, that ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be.
What do you expect with price? Where are you at with that?
That's going to be key, bro, because
I think that's the thing that matters. I don't even know if it's content. I think it's really because I was saying in the show that this can be another smart delivery situation. Like, Xbox can literally just sit back, keep doing their thing. I said, if I was Phil, I'd just, hey, keep the price the same no matter what until they announce their thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you stand the chance for PlayStation to come out, it's $25 a month, and be like, here's this thing that's been existing for a long while. It's the same price as always. Come to us. And again, it's that smart delivery of people going,
good point.
PlayStation digging their own grave type of thing. And the Xbox is just letting them do that. I'm not saying PlayStation's on a lifeline right now, but,
right. Of course.
But what I'm saying is this is a chance for them to look good by doing nothing. And that's the best good PR you can get, right? Is by just existing, your product being that good. It speaks for itself. So where are you at with the price? Where do you think they're going to do this? Because I look at this, reminds me a lot of Nintendo's online expansion pack. That's what I was thinking of, that nostalgic price tag of you finally got PS3. It looks like back compact. We've been asking for it for fucking generations.
I know,
and here it is, and you got to pay for it.
But and then we got to see what's the quality, because I'm gonna be real. I'm a techie. I'm
disc in, man. Yeah,
bro. I'm bougie with them, and I don't like they quality. I just wasn't the fan of their streaming quality, to be brutally honest. So is this now the result of the, like you said on the Ultimate when you did solo? Is this the result of now Microsoft Azure powered PS3 games streaming at a high level and fidelity and performance? That's what I want to see. How serious are these efforts that we do? And then that's the first part, the quality. Then the second part is, like you said, the price. Because if they jump out and they $25, $30, I don't know, bro. What else you give me? What else in there? There's Crunchyroll is in there. What else is in there?
Yeah.
So it's still a lot of questions. That's the thing. There's still, I gotta see it. You know what it is, but I'm just gonna be real. I just feel like, I'm just gonna say I would kill for this, but I'm gonna say I just feel like they've been nickel and diming this whole start of this gen. And I $10 for this.
Cheap,
pay for this upgrade. Pay for this, and I'm like,
they just did it again with the Uncharted, where you now the thing is that you pay $10, and if let's say you had Uncharted 4, you pay $10, you'll get that and Lost Legacy. I think it was you'll get both in the upgrade, but you're still paying for the upgrade.
And to me, this is the negative. I'm going to put it all on Jim Ryan, but to me, this is the negative of the business guys running the show versus the game guys, right? Because the business guys is like, yo, how can we get them to pay for that, though? That's nice. How can we get them to pay, right? And I'm worried because your competitor, this is where competition is great. Your competitor is destroying everything on pure value, goodwill, smart delivery, boost, back compat, this. And like you said, Xbox can just sit back.
Yeah.
And like King says, daddy. And just chill and just let them. And if they jump out the window and say a crazy price, already with the $70 games, remember? That's another thing. So it's like,
they can price themselves out of a market real quick. And very reminiscent of the PS3 when you kind of look at it. Just by default, people are going to say, well, this looks great, but I don't know if I want to pay that much for it.
That's what I'm worried about. Long term, I'm not playing panic. They got great IPs. Next year, I told everybody it's ordered cracking. Sony's coming. I told people that. But it's just long term, your competition is just the utmost value. So you have to match it.
Yeah, and that's what's exciting about all of this is because there's, we have to talk fairly about the opportunity that PlayStation has to undercut Xbox.
Yes.
And be like, hey, the reason we're giving you just PS4 and not PS5, the reason we're giving you PS Plus, and the reason we're giving you just demos, a library of classic games and stuff, is because we're charging you $10 a month instead.
No, I agree.
And that would be great. That would be great. Or we're charging you $15 a month, which would put it right next to Ultimate. I think that could be really good. But here's the thing that I worry about.
Let's go.
Does everyone remember the PlayStation Classic? Did we forget already? That little piece of hardware that came and went. It was a part of the little nostalgia grab. Nintendo was doing a good job. The NES Classic, NES Classic. People are like, yo, these cool little collectibles, little time capsules. I got them in the collection now. PlayStation's like, yo, we got the IP that you want, and we're going to sell you a classic. And they put like these fucking obscure games in there. I'm just like, I bet I would put my top dollar on the idea that they're going to take every game from PS Classic and put it into this library of games. Minus of course, we got to see what PS2 is, what PS3 and P is. Those are the exciting ones to me. But I guarantee that PS1 library is going to be the exact same that we got years ago, because no one was buying them. And if they did buy them, it was to mod them, which I did. That's what it was for.
Bro, you could be onto something. And again, if we look at patterns of the gen, they have been team nickel and dime. And I'm just like, bro, like you can't, like you sucking blood from a stone. Like, bro, come on. So yeah, we gotta watch. If they are aggressive and they come like really close to Ultimate, this could be a problem. This could be a problem for Xbox. They're going to have to pace it. But yeah, we got to see how they price this.
Dude, that's the thing. I love their focus on demos. I think that's really good, because to me, that encourages experimentation. It's like, hey, this thing may look weird to you, but you can try it out. And what I also like is maybe they're not going to do day one Game Pass, but they'll do day one 2-hour demos that allow you to try out God of War Ragnarok, allow you to try out Horizon Forbidden West. Here's the problem with that idea is I think of a lot of games that do front loading. It's a very common development technique. Front load them, give them all you've got early on. A lot of JRPGs do it. Give them everything you got early on to almost create the allure in your head. Like, it's a psychological trick, like, so that you look for that next moment that's like that. And if you look at JRPGs, there's a reason why the first 10 hours hit you with a ton of anime cutscenes, a ton of fully animated battles, intense voice acting, like the best of the best. It's because they can't retain it the whole way through, so they try to hook you early. And so you sit there, with the front load, and you wait for things to change or stay or come back to what they were. And so I'm wondering if the design of these games, like, you can't have that slow opening now. You can't have that methodical, like Nathan Drake walking around as a kid. You can't have that now. You got to have something out the gate that's like, yo, those first 2 hours were sick. All right, I'm paying that. Like, that's something that could happen, and they should be careful. Now, if they do like what they did with Death Stranding, they give you 6 hours, different story. Then we got to talk about game length. As these games get more cinematic and expensive, it's like, well, hold on, 6 hours is a lot, Sony.
No, that's a good point. Fantastic. We got to watch this thing, man, for sure.
Absolutely. We had a write-in from Ben Peace that I just wanted to discuss real quickly. Hey, guys, is Sony's angle of being the premium place to play games actually a stronger position than Game Pass? After the first 2 weeks of Halo Infinite and buying the Battle Pass, I still feel like the players 343 is actually catering to are the whales who buy every cosmetic at the store. So much content is not included in the Battle Pass, including Reach armors. So I would have much rather spent $70 on a premium microtransaction-less Halo. Do you guys feel the same? I know this is more Halo tiered, but I want to talk about PlayStation's position as kind of a market leader for premium content right now.
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic point. I think this is how you combat. You have to. I mean, your strength is your first party is some of the very best in the industry. Like, you have a quality, a bar that is set every time you release. So they've got the cachet, they've got the name brand recognition. They're the hotter person right now, right? So you got to leverage that. They were leveraging the exclusivity, timed exclusive deals. You see, they were very aggressive, throwing money around with that.
Yeah.
As far as like, he kind of speaking to you. Like, literally, Ben is speaking to you because you literally said, I would have rather paid $70 for my Halo Infinite multiplayer with all the cosmetics, all the things in one big sum.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And you unlockable, whatever, then the way that's being done. And I think that, here's the thing. I know we are vilifying them, and rightfully so, when they mess up, right? When they mess up, we got to get them. The problem is when people say, yo, I don't understand why they do. There's metrics for all this stuff, man. And like, again, me being a Destiny guy, right? And we would complain when oh my God, they actually going to make us do this for transmog. They're going to make us do that. Gamers talk but the actions show otherwise.
You're
and
right.
I'm very guilty of it. Like I said, Destiny came out. I intended really not to spend no money. I saw 2 or 3 skins. I'm like, oh man, that thing fire. I gotta get that. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people are strong. They're like, yo, I'm just here for the game. But clearly, which is baddie, you're stronger man than me. I'm weak, man. I'm weak. Yeah. So I'll tell you this. When it comes to the cosmetic, I'll tell you this though. There are metrics that show there are way more of me's than they are of the tried and true, the purist, the guy who sticks to his guns and said, I am not doing this.
Yeah.
People fall for it. And I think that's what the analytics show, and that's why we see what we see. But to the question, yes, Sony's angle is going to be, we are the premier, greatness is here, quality games. They're going to leverage that. Even with PlayStation Spartacus, hey, we got the games that you really want, AAA quality. So
that just can get carried away into like overcharging, which we'll have to monitor. But
absolutely,
it's going to be really exciting to see. Great writing, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's tap into Battlefield real quick. Following a rough launch for Battlefield 2042, EA has responded with an overall shakeup of the entire franchise. The already stretched thin and EA's ace up the sleeve Vince Zampella will fill in as the man overseeing the Battlefield franchise. Vince Zampella is responsible for overseeing definitive FPS experiences like Apex Legends and Titanfall recently, as well as the extremely successful Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Alongside Vince is Mark Leto, who is co-creator of Halo and heading up his own studio to work on Battlefield. Meanwhile, Oscar Gabrielson, general manager of Battlefield developer DICE, is leaving after nearly a decade at the company. EA informed GameSpot that they are working to build a, quote, connected Battlefield universe, end quote, across multiple studios. This includes DICE, Battlefield Portal developer Ripple Effect, Mark Leto's new Seattle-based studio, and Industrial Toys, who is off working on a Battlefield mobile game. How are you feeling about this one, Cog? Because I mean, I look at it, it's like the Vince Zampella Band-Aid is what I call it. Like, get this man on a box of Band-Aids for EA because they're fucking slapping him on any wound they got right now. Any wound they got. They're like, Vince, where are you?
Call him Vince. Yep.
You got to call Vince, right? Make him a show for a spinoff for fucking Breaking Bad or something. Got to call Vince.
Yeah. Gotta call Vince, man. I love that. I like that. Yep. The guy's hot. Yep. Instead of gotta call Saul, gotta call Vince. I love it. EA is definitely utilizing it, and salute to him for holding it down. Look, I am torn. This is really conflicting news for me.
Okay.
On one side, I've got the guy that I like, one of my guys. Like Vince is one of my draft picks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You
like,
want him on everything, right?
You know what I mean? I watch this guy. I say it all the time. Vince Zampella, in Cog's opinion, has not made a whack game. In my opinion.
He really hasn't. Call of Duty even. Yeah.
Modern Warfare game series. That's peak Call of Duty. That's what we was all playing. Perks and, choppers and strikes and all. Bro, you know what I'm saying? Titanfall. You know what I'm saying? Like Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I believe Apex is still kind of technically under his thing, and I don't even like Battle Royale. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that to let you know if Apex is pop. I got people that left Destiny for Apex. That's how real Apex is. So it's just this high quality bar.
Right.
Everything he does. So now I'm like, okay, Battlefield could be saved here. Okay, Battlefield. They got, they got the MVP in the building. He's gonna turn it around. And boy, did they need it because they had like a 70% drop off on Steam, which was atrocious for Battlefield, that new Battlefield. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So EA definitely hit the bat phone. But the second part, Matty, I don't know how I feel about that. Because this is how I look at it. We're separated. I'm a Battlefield guy. I used to be a Call of Duty when it first started, but I'm a Battlefield guy.
Sure.
I like when it's like 3 to 4 years before release. Take your time, do something, right? Now you doing this studio thing, you got me feeling like you trying to annualize like your competitor. And
good pickup.
Bro, connected universe. Battlefield ain't got no story like that to be.
I was wondering what that meant. Yeah.
Like connected universe. Again, I'll be open-minded. I don't know what it is. But I can only infer on the information that is presented. The information that presented seems like these different studios going to have a game. I hope it ain't like a Modern Warfare Black Ops, Modern Warfare, Battlefield Modern Warfare, Battlefield Black Ops. I hope it ain't that, because that's not going to excite me that you're going to keep bringing it to the forefront just for corporations to eat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about Vince and his quality. I'm just worried about what is connected Battlefield universe. So that's where I'm at. I'm legit torn because I like Battlefield. I just don't know where this is going. But what do you say?
I'm with you. I'm excited because I love Battlefield. That's the thing. I haven't loved a Battlefield really since Battlefield 3, though, if I'm honest with myself. And I know a lot of the audience really likes 4. It genuinely just didn't click with me. I don't know why. But it's not something I've outgrown. Like, I was really authentically excited for 2042, and it just came in really rough. And I don't know if a delay would have done it, because some of them are just pure design decisions, like trying to make it a hero shooter almost. It just it felt like as we got closer, you started to see the curtains get pulled back. You're like, what's happening here? Of course, Battlefield Portal seems to be the real shining. Like, it is exactly what you want it to be. Like, it is very good, where it can almost be its own separate thing. And I think that's what EA is going to end up doing, is making Battlefield Portal like its own application, its own game that continues to bring that battle. That makes sense. Like, that's a Battlefield universe connected. Like, you have Battlefield 2 Bad Company maps, you got Battlefield 3 maps, you got Battlefield 4 maps. Like, do that, because I would happily jump into that as someone who really likes the older Battlefield stuff. But when it comes to new things, you're right. They don't got the story. They never had the story. It was always about the multiplayer action. And I wonder if they're experiencing kind of like what we saw with Halo, where feature creep gets them, because we've seen how game development's got more expensive, and we could see how that really, of course, a lot of development issues withstanding, that ate up Halo Infinite, that ate up 343. And it's because people expect more with these games coming around every number of years. It's not like Call of Duty where it comes out every year. So those small increments are actually satisfactory for a lot of people. It's the same thing with Battlefield. When it comes around, it's not just another shooter. You're expecting greatness. You're expecting a new overhaul of the systems. You're expecting change, and realistically so. But I think for them to just make the game they want to make before adding anything, it's taking much longer than they think. So this might be why they're expanding the operations, going, look, we can't do Battlefield like we used to do in the 360 gen. We can only do it this way now, because they haven't really nailed one in a while. I think of even Battlefield 1, like that was hitting at a hot time, right? That was everyone was big on that. Like COD was down, Battlefield was up.
Good point.
And even that I personally didn't hang around for that much. Like, it just didn't stick. There's something about Battlefield that hasn't stuck. And I think it's their focus on, what I loved about Battlefield 3 and Bad Company 2 is the openness of these maps, and how those little encounter spots were so well designed. But the way that they've opened up, say 2042, when I experienced it, it's just a huge open wasteland. Where in Battlefield Bad Company 2, it's like they go in waves. Like, there's just little squares in the map that kind of like you're in one big road that just keeps pushing back and back and back. But it's not as wide. So I'm wondering if their approach will change with the design of the games, because I think that's what made them work. But still interesting nonetheless. And Vince is there, so I'm sure that Battlefield game will be good.
Right. And the last thing I will say with Vince is I love the cachet he has, that he's not forced to use any engine he doesn't want to use. He clearly has so much pull in that building. He can operate the way he wants, because you see Titanfall, you see his games, they're not forced on Frostbite and stuff like that. The only thing I want to see is this multiple studios thing, how that works.
Vince is awesome. Like, like watching him, I remember there was I think it was EA Play, and it was one of the worst EA plays of all time. Do you remember the one when they were going around interviewing like people in the crowd?
Yes.
One time they interviewed Vince, and I don't think they told him, because this guy looked fucking stoned out of his mind. He looked so gone, and he's sitting there like bloodshot. I was like, like that. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck, and he makes amazing games, bro. Like, it's amazing.
Yo, he outside, man. No one can tell him, man. He's doing him. I love it.
He really is, man. I love it. But one of my favorite things I saw about him.
I remember that. Shout out to Vince, man, for real.
Number 5, step aside PS Vita. It just may be Xbox's turn. This week, we saw Razer and Qualcomm team up to reveal a Snapdragon-powered gaming handheld. During the presentation, they disregarded Nintendo Switch, saying a true handheld doesn't exist, before interestingly bringing up Xbox Cloud Gaming and Xbox Game Pass quite regularly. The Snapdragon G3X Gen 1 supports docking for TVs, cooling fan technology, and full controllers. They boasted features that aren't available on the Nintendo Switch, such as 144 FPS, 5G, and stereo haptics. Interestingly, afterwards, Windows Central Gaming Central, reports that they have heard for a while that Microsoft has been dabbling with a handheld prototype for quite a while.
Interesting, right? Interesting,
yeah.
right? I got a spicy take, though.
Okay. Okay, let's hear it. You go first, man. You go first.
I got a spicy take. All right, look, I saw it, and my heart wanted to love this.
Oh, no.
My heart wanted to love this. My heart wanted... I can't. I like the spec, 144, no doubt, 5G and all that. But there's still that elephant in the room, Matty. Not local. Not local. And that's the thing. Like, Cog wants to get on a plane. Cog wants to go, if this, the service is not great where you're at, right? You're still forced to stream. Now, I like a dedicated device, though, so I don't have to use my phone.
Yeah.
Love that. But where Steam Deck is still on their head is local.
Yep.
That is the key, because when you're on a plane, you're not xCloud streaming. It's just not. And this is when Nintendo Switch beats everyone until hopefully Steam Deck comes out. We'll see how that goes. But I could take that Switch out anywhere, and I'm rocking. There's no internet search, and I'm just hoping. And I the sad part, I'd be shocked if they did this. I'd be shocked if Xbox themselves made a dedicated handheld device. Oh my God, it would be heaven for me. Heaven. I've always wanted that from them. Always, just at least attempt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One good, strong attempt. Like, that's why I love Vita so much. Like, Vita spoke to me on so many levels. This was a PlayStation I had in my hand. This was, I had my trophies. Let me tell you how impressive the Vita was. The Vita, I could party chat on the Vita, talking to my PS3 friends, like we all in one joint. I would be able to remote play from my old job when I should have been working. But I was not maybe focused all the way. But at that time, when I had spare time, your boy were remoting. I'm playing Killzone. I'm going remote playing in my PS3. It was and PS4. It was beautiful. Why hasn't Xbox got into space? That's where I'm at,
man. You took the words out of my mouth. Like I felt like I was just listening to myself there. I'm sure even the audience was a little surprised. Like that really sounded like something that I would say.
Bro, because we share that Vita love,
absolutely.
Man. Vita was special. The tech was advanced. OLED screen. Still, Switch just getting OLED now.
I know. Exactly. That's what I say to people. I see so many screenshots of people going like, yo, this OLED, man. Wow. How we not seeing more of these? And I'm like, yo, you guys just got to pay attention at some point.
One of the GOATs. This is Xbox podcast. I understand.
Yeah.
But this is one of the GOATs.
Yes.
This was one of the
he's got
GOATs,
it right there.
One of the GOATs. Let me explain to y'all what this thing did. It was ahead of its time, brother. It really was. This was me, you, and Colin share this one.
Dude. And the audience. I know the audience was bringing Vitas for us to sign at Last Man Meetup, man. It was
Facts.
It was incredible. I would love, I'm with you, man. I would love to see him do this. And if Xbox could, here's the trick that I always struggle with here is like, okay, if you do local and you look at how games are growing with, especially on the Xbox front, like they're dedicating the Series X a little bit earlier than PlayStation's dedicated to PS5. And I think that'll be great for the console space. But let's say they do this handheld. Do you want to make something that developers will look at and go, oh, the install base, it's like the Vita. Oh, the install base is small. The development cost is high. We could make something cool for this locally. Or do you make something that's streamable that is able to play these games, which I am right there with you. I'm not even pushing back on you because like if they can find a way to do it, they should do it locally. I would be all for that. But I'm with you, right? Like the Steam Deck is so exciting to me. Pre-ordered the most expensive version they got right away because I was like, yo, I need to support this. Like local handheld gaming is where I'm at always. And I don't even travel that much. I just like to lounge with my games. Like that's it, man. That's all there is.
Just because when you're a gamer, there's something to be said to have the accessibility where wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
To be able to, even if it's for an hour, like, yo, I got an hour. Okay, yo, I could get some gaming in right quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's what it is. And it's just like, yeah, man, like I'm with it. But you made the practical points. And I think that's what preventing it from happening is technically it would be a third SKU. Because, and I think I know why it's not happening. Let's be real. The S for them fills that role.
Yes.
And now that I think more of it, yeah, like they're like, we already did the double SKU approach. The S is doing well.
Really
and it's
well.
small,
Yeah.
you know, a little adorable, little shout out to little man, we call it around, you know, and damn, man, it just sucks because if they were to have it, I think it could do well. But for them, like you said, development costs. You answered it. You brought.
I don't
want to
be right. I actually love being right. I don't want to be right here.
You did. That's it. They're not. They and plus the initiative is Azure, so the initiative is going to win over. No, you can stream. You can stream. Hey, old hardware, you can stream. You know, and I think
what if there's an in between here? You can play up to your Xbox One games, but your Series console games stream. Would you like that in between? Is that something that
let's go. Yeah, let's do it.
I think I'm about that. I think we could do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get Xbox One X tech-ish in there. You give me an Xbox One X portable innards, right? Anything like a flight simulator or whatever, that's too stream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you could get the best of both worlds for the very graphical intensive games that won't port. And then I'm there.
Yeah.
But it's like, they just need to get in there. I don't know. I know they've had tons of prototypes over the years. I know that for a fact, but it's just like, man, they just never pushed the button. I would love, because Xbox Live is perfect for them. There's so many things they could do, man. Yeah. I'm excited, but we'll see.
We will see, and I will cross my fingers indeed.
Yes.
Number 6, the tumultuous times of Activision continue as the company perpetually digs its own grave. In this instance, it has to deal with the heavily underutilized Raven Software, who is responsible for Hidden Gems, Singularity, X-Men Origins, and 2009's Wolfenstein, and is now folded into the annual efforts of the Call of Duty juggernaut. Activision has laid off a dozen members of Raven Software's. Imagine that. Activision has laid off a dozen members of Raven Software's QA team, which represents about a third of the entire QA staff. I'm cracking up because Cog, you're muted, and I just see you laughing behind my screen right now. I didn't hear what joke you said.
So it's probably good that I did it. I'm over here throwing raisins and everything. I can see Raisin Brand Studio. Continue.
This arrives after many of the employees had moved homes to work at the studio, were promised an increase in wages by the end of the year, and experienced years worth of crunch. According to a report from Washington Post, Activision Blizzard has cut ties with the company Tapfin in exchange for the company Volt. Contractors still a part of the studio and not affected by today's layoffs will now be Volt employees. They will also receive a $1.50 raise, bringing their hourly total up to $18.50 per hour, and increased bonuses and benefits. An Activision spokesperson attempted to clarify the matter, saying that while 20 people were let go, Activision has made 500 of these developers full-time. Currently, at the time of recording, Activision Blizzard employees are staging another walkout for the contractors who were let go in protest of the decision made by the higher-ups in an effort to get those jobs back.
Yeah, well, here we go again.
Yeah, I was going to say, damn, man, like, the issue here is really, like, I think I'll take a hard-nosed approach here.
Go for it. Let's go.
I think business does happen. I do think people's jobs get cut. The problem here is not that, because I know people are going to go there right away. It's that they made the promises first. They promised in advance, like, we're going to give you raises, come here, work for us, we're going to make it good for you, and then they fired them. And that's got to be devastating. Like, imagine, I think if I moved from, like, New York to Seattle, they're like, we got you, we're going to take care of you, you put that trust in them, and they fire you, that sucks. So I think they have every right to protest here, but I get why I get there are business decisions that had to be made. That falls on the higher-ups to convey that properly and be like, yo, this is temporary or something like that. You know, that needs to be out there. So where are you at right now with where Raven Software's at, and how are you feeling about another chapter in the Activision story?
This hit home for me. This is very personal because, you know, for me, I came up in IT, and one of the hardest things to come up in IT initially was you always told you don't have the experience, right? You don't have the experience yet. You know, you've got the book knowledge, the degree, or whatever it is, or certification, but you don't have the experience. So it's like, well, how do you get experience? Well, how you get experience is a lot of contract work, temp to perm, that kind of stuff. And the hope is you put in the work over the years and you get it. And this is one of the things that, now that I finally have an industry job, it's just like, this is one of the things that pushed me away from ever thinking about the industry.
Yeah.
Seriously, because it was just like, man, it's so volatile. It's so volatile. I know people. I know this story. I have friends in the industry where it's like these guys uproot their entire families, moving cross country. And there's only a couple of cities you could go to, Washington, Cali, maybe. There's a couple of pockets here and there. Yes, Canada, but there's not many places in game dev you could go. So it's not that easy. So you get laid off, man. Like it's tough. It's tough. And for this, it's like, this is where I know Schreier gets a lot of hate, but I do agree that this is where unionization on some level could help. Not that it's the Band-Aid for everything, right? Yeah. But it's just like there needs to be things in place for the games industry devs that make these games that we love, that they literally sacrificing their lives. That's why I'm always pro dev. Because think about how gangster you got to be. Give me a quick story, real quick.
Sure, go for it.
Unto the End developer, right? I've had them on ILP. It's a husband and wife studio. It's a 2-person studio, right? Mm-hmm. They were living the good life in Canada, great jobs, doing all this stuff. And they ignored at him. He wanted to make his game. He always wanted to make a game. He has a brother in the industry. He left all that and they moved and they were telling me how real it was. You know what I'm saying? Like to make ends meet, to survive. That's you're making the game, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's real. So it's like it bothers me when I hear stories like that. But cops are bothered too right now too. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, we got to do something for these people, man. We got to figure out a way that these people are protected. And that I'm always going to be on the passionate side for contractors and stuff like that, because it's hard it's hard to get in the industry, man. It really is.
Absolutely. And I think QA is often not talked about enough in gaming on how important it is, because
good point.
I know we look at, for example, what we just did here, like you evangelize the likes of like Joseph Staten, like, you really deify them, rather, would probably be the better word. Like this is the savior of the game, but we don't think of I put in quotes, the grunts, right? So
yes,
I think it's something like, in my situation, working on an RPG, making the game is really half the battle. The other battle is getting the numbers right, testing and counter rate, like those types of things. Like that's what you have to look at. And this goes into many other much more complex facets of development on a higher level. Like they are the unsung heroes in a lot of ways. Like the reason you like your game, like Ken Levine said something really interesting. I was listening to him do a Twitter Spaces one time, and he was talking about how it doesn't matter to an extent if it's fun if you're not getting feedback. And what he meant by that is you can have the best mechanics, the best battles, the best music, the best story, but if you're fighting an enemy that has 9,999 health and you hit them for 1 damage attack, you're not having fun. So the mechanics don't matter. And that's where QA comes in. Like, how many shots should it take to kill someone in a gunfight? How much does this gun do? I'm fighting this person too quick. I'm jumping through this wall over here.
Yes.
Right? It's not just about making the game, but it's about testing it rigorously. And that's why people fight so hard for QA now, and you're seeing more and more of it, is because they're literally the unsung heroes that make it happen. I have a friend who, I don't want to name him, but worked at TT Games for a while. There's a lot of valuable experience you learn where you just spend like 8 hours, and it's not pretty work, but 8 hours just doing weird shit in games to try to break them. Like, it's weird because we're conditioned to play the game and enjoy it, and you are going the opposite way. Like, what if I pressed B here and then jumped through the wall after? It's like, oh shit, I'm underground now. It's hey, write that down, pass it to the team. Like, that's the work that they do, as I'm sure many know, but it's consistently underappreciated again, we're guilty of it. You continue to see like Todd Howard, the big names kind of serve as the talking points.
Yes. No, that's a good point. And I'm so glad you said that, because I had to improve, with interviewing people, and sometimes just showering the individual who's at the top, right? So what I try to say is like, hey, you and the team the team, because it's not just one individual. You know what I'm saying? One individual may carry out orders and directives, but it's the team. And like you said, the grunts, like the QA, the people who don't get the credit behind the scene that really make these games high quality. That's not fun work, playing the same game 8 hours, the same level over and over just to try to break it and all that stuff. And like I said, as a person who understands trying to break into the industry and contract and temporary work, the hope is to make it, and those guys, it's very slim to get brought on and to stay on. You know what I mean, kind of thing. So I get it.
Absolutely. So, best wishes to those at Raven Software. Hopefully, some decisions are reversed. Let's get into our last bit of news here. Halo Infinite playlist updates, courtesy of John Unishek. I wanted to talk about this because I found the quotes interesting, and I've seen Joe Staten say it. I've seen John here say it. And I think it speaks to where 343 might be at as a studio. So let's talk.
Let's talk about it.
We've been reading your feedback, and we're working on plans to add Fiesta, Tactical Slayer, SWAT, and Free-for-All playlists as we speak. They won't land by December 8th, but the team is trying to push to get them in before the end of the year. Our goal for events is to try new modes prior to adding to playlists. We'll monitor playlist health after the 3 additions above and adjust our offering if needed. But we're excited to make these updates before the holidays. This is just the start of the conversation with y'all. A Social Slayer playlist with multiple variations is also in the works. We see this request the most, but we won't be able to get that one ready until after the holidays. We hope you understand and enjoy the ones that make it in before the team takes a well-deserved break. End quote. So the reason I want to talk about this is, of course, news. You know, we know Halo's going to get these playlists. I know we just read about the development of it all. But what I'm seeing here is, you know, we're reading your feedback. We hear you. And we saw Joe Staten say it. I've seen all these members of 343 say it. I don't want to dogpile them too hard here because I did see what happened on the Halo subreddit. It got really toxic, really bad. And Sketch Brian Gerard was explaining like the process of like, we know these issues. We know. We hear you, like very snapped, right? It was getting it was getting bad. And
he clapped back a couple people.
I think in a way that's deserved, right? Like, you know, they deserve their criticism, but there came a point where it was just getting toxic.
Yeah.
My real thing here is we've been reading your feedback. And the reason I bring this up is because what feedback do you need for shit like Slayer playlists? What are you talking about? What do you mean? You know, like, what exactly does that mean? How did you not? I'm assuming you're claiming now you knew the whole time. So what do you mean based off data, like based off your feedback? I guess in one way it makes sense for the challenge system, but for playlist additions, I get the idea is probably PR speak. Like, hey, the player did this. But has anyone paused for a second and thought that these people are legitimately taking what is one of the storied first-person shooter franchises that is famous for its multiplayer and its mode offerings and going, we've heard your feedback. We're adding Slayer. We're adding SWAT. It's like, what? What is that? What do you mean? Like, how was this not known? Am I off the pack on this? Where are you at with what's being said here?
Again, you know, I'm a Destiny guy. This ain't my first rodeo.
It's mine. Like, so I'm reacting differently than you. You're like the dad here.
I'm listening to you. You know what you sound like? You sound like Ebontis right now. Me and Ebontis would have these talks, right? And he'd get into his Destiny, right? Like, I don't understand, Cog. Like, how do you not know this is clearly busted or broken coming in or incomplete? And I just tell him, brother, I said, look, they know. These guys, they know. They already knew this.
Mm-hmm.
They been knew this. This comes back to our theory of coming in hot, right? So this, in my humble opinion, I'm not in the room, but in my humble opinion, my guess is you stalling because you focused everything else to just get it out the door, right?
Sure.
So now it's like, yo, you know, it's like you're late for school. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you know, you might not be all best kept. You may have the ketchup on the shirt. You may, whatever's going on, that you're not all the way 100% the way you need to be.
Right,
and I think that's what this is an example of it, because on a pure base level, your prior products had these modes, right? And again, it goes right back to State. And again, going back to the stuff I told you, he said that Ryan interview, shout out to the OG Checker Dude, is key. I learned so much. You got to read between the lines with the corporate speak sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's basically, please allow us more time. And then while you allow us, we're going to sacrifice a lot of basic stuff just to get this thing out the door in a serviceable fashion.
Yep.
And that was the decision. And we will take our pelting. We will take our public beating. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get killed for this. They're not going to like this. But now I've learned to understand it after hearing it. I don't like it. I don't approve, but I understand it now. Now I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it justifies what we've always said.
Of course.
It came in hot. It came in hot, man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it doesn't come as a surprise. It's just the wordplay that I know I sound like I'm nitpicking. And in all fairness, I kind of am. But it's valid. It just, to me, looks kind of clueless in a company that's like trying to build goodwill and faith. That they might want to choose that a little more wisely, not be like, we hear your feedback. It's like this.
Yeah. Destiny would say stuff like, we hear you. We hear you. like, yeah, we okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's always short, but I will say this. Gotta be, Cog's pro dev, gotta be a little nice here now. For me, which is, to their credit, they probably went through hell just to get the thing out. Yeah. They get the thing out. And then it's like, okay, Thanksgiving break, you give them time. I will say this. I've seen other games play this we hear you thing. Outriders. And it'd be like 3 months later. You know what I'm saying? And now you've really lost people. You know what I'm saying? So to their credit, right after December 8th, in the window, just give a realistic time frame. When is it going to happen? And you say, Andrew, I said, okay, cool. So we ain't going to like it, but at least it soothes the blow a little bit. Transparency, communication.
Absolutely. Well said. That's what's happening with the Halo playlist. Speaking of Halo, let's move on to our Game Pass pick of the week, Cog. You and I really combined for this one, I guess, but this was you. So let's get into it.
One, it's the day right now. It's about 3:40. It's already live. The King is back. We got to give him his roses for all the stuff. We criticize it, and rightfully so. But the experience as a package, they got to get their roses. They finally were able to do a solid campaign that we both played. They're able to do a solid multiplayer, and now the world gets to check it out. Is it perfect? Does it have its flaws? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to that pure fun and that gameplay and that sandbox, we got to give it up, man. And getting Master Chief's story in this thing. Now, we'll say we'll get to, when we get into other DDUs and we do spoiler casts, we'll get deep with it. But Halo fans, people who've never played Halo, this is the one. Pick it up, have some fun, and then get back to us when we do a spoiler cast with the Dukes.
Yeah, and make sure you don't buy it physically. This is coming from me. That disc, man, it is a unlock key that downloads the game. So do not get the disc. Really disappointed in that. But guess what? Your boy's about to get 6,000 Microsoft reward points because I'm going to buy it digitally. So, bang.
Okay.
Done.
There you go.
Done.
Hey, what's up with that preload? Why was the preload?
I don't know. Yeah, that was the other thing. It's just really weird. I swear the best thing they could have done for this game was release that multiplayer early, because those things would have dominated the conversation. They had to have known, because preloading. I'm sorry, the audio listeners couldn't see my face, but it's just fucking baffling.
It's very strange,
right?
Very strange.
But I'm with you. This is the week we've all been waiting for it. If you ain't playing Halo, what are you doing? Download the campaign. One thing that I just wanted to suggest to people is, if you're a first-time Halo fan, it's a great place to start. It's a really great place to start. You can get a feel for what Halo was and its gameplay. It evolves it in a lot of ways. So you're not getting that exact Bungie experience, but reminiscent of what it felt like in a manner of speaking. And I think the story is reset enough where you can hop in and understand what's happening here. You might have to refamiliarize yourself with some things, but like they said, this is kind of in a lot of ways a soft reboot. And so, if you're not playing it, give it a shot, because at least the open world action is a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And like I said, for Game Pass, this is regardless of what, it's a AAA title in that service. It's a huge boon for Microsoft to have that for the holidays. So they ended the year strong.
Absolutely. Shout out to every kid who's going to get a disc, though, for Christmas, and they're going to have to download the damn game. That shit sucks.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
So not much more to say on Halo. Let's talk with Ross Stoddard to begin our 5 ending questions for the show. Salutations, Duke of RPGs, Mr. Matty Plays, and Iron Lord Cognito of House Oculus.
I like that.
So, what did you make of Microsoft announcing their acquisition of Sony at this year's Game Awards and the reveal that Spider-Man will now wear a black and green suit? It's crazy. Anyway, to my real question, what happened to all this talk about Xbox acquisitions? They said after Bethesda they weren't done, but have yet to announce anything. Has the open checkbook been temporarily closed due to Game Pass missing its growth target? Despite Xbox Game Pass growing 37% year over year, the Xbox content and services, which includes Game Pass, only grew 2%. So maybe Phil and company needed to show more return on investment with their current crop of studios before they were being able to expand. Thoughts? Love all you do, you wonderful pair of Xbox and Sony ponies. Please delete as applicable based on Twitter toxicity. Thanks from Wet as Fuck Scotland, Ross. Yeah, this is interesting. We have not had, probably since like the Sega episode, we've not had like a real conversation on Xbox studio acquisitions, because like originally the talk was like, sometime this year, right? It was E3. We were hearing something was going to happen. How do you feel? I ask you this every time, but like, how do you feel about the change of pace for acquisitions? I thought it was going to be like Sony level, like bang,
me too.
Another bang.
It was Sony who did the acquisitions.
They did a great job this year.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-part. One, as far as the acquisition, I don't think, first, this is the thing I learned. I learned that they did not have to operate on the cadence I thought they were going to have to operate on, which was, when we had Grub on, it was kind of like, there's money to be spent, and if they don't spend it by a certain amount, time frame, it's gonna go up. And we got from the horse's mouth, like, hey, we don't operate on nobody's time frame. If we wait, we wait, right? It has to be the right move. Yeah. So you know what the vibe I'm getting from them now? It's kind of like, we want to nurture with you first before we just throw a bag at you. Like, I look at what they're doing as soft test runs. I look at Avalanche.
Yeah.
I look at Crystal Dynamics. And I'm like, because one thing people got to realize, when you're wealthy, in order for you to get wealthy, you got to make shrewd moves, right? You just can't just throw money at everything, because you won't stay wealthy. So the way I look at it is like, they could buy everybody. Like, and the joke is, they could buy just stupid, outrageous. I think what has happened is the Bethesda situation has spoiled us as gamers
a little bit.
We know they are capable.
Yes.
The scary part, right? They could really be the Borg and just like assimilate everybody, right? If they truly wanted to. But there's a shrewdness with it, and I just think the approach has changed. Develop the relationship, give them the test run, work with them, and now we'll see what happens. And that's my new theory now. But to Ross's credit, yes, I was surprised that they did not have at least one acquisition to end 2021. And I'm curious, like, what do you think's happening? What do you think's going on?
Yeah, I'm wondering what the next gem in the Infinity Gauntlet's going to be, right?
Where's it at?
Yeah, I've been wondering myself, and I'm thinking, I don't think business decisions of $7.5 billion go down on this, but I think there was a perk that was obvious of, if we get Bethesda, we can address 2022 before 2023 and on, that our future is set. Like, that's still the year I think Xbox fans are waiting for. Right now, it's really exciting, but I think we're going to look back once we hit 2023 and go, man, like, this is what's coming up for us. This is exciting, right? So
I agree.
I think that I'm with you on the idea. They're going to take a wait and see approach. And there's no real urgency for them anymore. I don't know if with the games being played as much as they are, I think maybe they might have spoken too soon, but they've also made their targets clear, right? Casual audience, kid-friendly audience, that type of stuff. and there's only a few targets there, right?
Mhm.
And there's been rumors about Warner Bros. Of offers being put on that table last summer.
Yeah.
And, they didn't get them. Warner Bros. Didn't sell off, but I feel like that's where Xbox is looking, because
Woo.
I don't know if we can do this studio extraction, so to say, where if they could get a TT Games, which I think would be the very obvious pick. Because if you could fire up Game Pass and it's got all the Lego games,
Ooh,
that's powerful, man.
that's powerful.
That's powerful. I love
Powerful
Lego
for
games.
kids.
So
Oh yeah, they're great.
I think you get Warner Bros. You get a lot of what you're looking for there. You get Batman, you get Lego, you get a lot addressed there. And so I'm wondering if that's the angle they're going to try to take over time. It's Warner Bros. Games division, by the way, not Warner Bros. As a whole.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
But that's where my head is at, because
Yeah.
otherwise they have a comfortable amount of studios. The current studios are doing well. Psychonauts did really well. Forza did really well. Age of Empires did really well. Like, all these games
Right.
are setting records. Halo Infinite setting records. Like, they're doing fine. They're probably thrilled internally. So they're probably sitting there going, well, hey, our newest editions haven't even gone yet. And our old stuff that is doing better than ever. So what's the rush? I think that's what's kind of happened as the numbers have settled in, is we've seen maybe they'll pull the trigger in 2022 early on on something just to be like a defensive purchase. I could see.
I would say that, especially with Sony's coming in 2022. It would behoove them in the first half to do it if they can. I just want to jump in real quick because you got me thinking too, which is, a lot of times we learn about the deals that didn't happen, that fell through. There's a lot of fluidity, and I think they are in the mix with a lot of these talks. You know what I'm saying? What kind of thing? I've heard the rumors with Bungie back in the day. I heard all different things, right? So I think the reason why it's still fluid, because this is not inside baseball anymore because it's now public, but I knew from way back they had tried to acquire Bethesda. From way back.
Really?
And it fell through. It fell through at the last.
Interesting.
Yes. It fell through at the last minute. And the relationship, they kept fine. And then I forgot, you always tell me the gentleman's name and I always butcher it, who passed away.
Robert Altman.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So there was some things in place, but they were very close. There's been times of negotiations at the very least. I mean, I'll shout out, I think it was Jazz Window Central, those guys. I know they were talking to Bungie at one point. You know what I'm saying? I know. So sense. It's a courting phase. It's also, then you also got to remember, people also got to remember there's a two-part thing here, right? Microsoft could do whatever they want, but other people got to want to play the game. And we just learned recently, and I'll just throw it in real quick because we were thinking about making it a news item, but I'll just tease it here, which was the whole Moon Studios that made Ori, right? They just recently said, nah, we're good. Yeah. We like to be, out there, multi-plat. We didn't feel it was necessarily the greatest relationship for us. It has to be thing. Yeah. So Microsoft could want to acquire you all you want, but if the other company says no, or the asking price is ridiculous, because I feel some people may be like, yo, we worth $2 billion.
Yeah.
And Microsoft be like, nah, fam, we looking at your metrics there. You ain't that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
a lot of things got to meet. A lot of things got to be in the middle there. So the fact that they pulled off Bethesda is astounding, I think. And it's still in a lot of ways hasn't really sunk in. It probably won't until Starfield rolls around.
Until Starfield hits. Then it's going to be like, oh, wow, it's here. It's here, yeah, for sure.
Because otherwise it's just sort of a name thing in Game Pass editions, right? Because Deathloop came around, it's PlayStation exclusive, as it should have been. And so yeah, we're kind of waiting on the fruits of that labor. So they're also probably not in a rush for that either. But I think this is a great question because it's something that over time the hype just kind of died off, and we're like, okay, they'll just go when they go, because the expectation was they'd pull the trigger on like IO Interactive, on Avalanche, and I think those are pretty likely targets, but work them a little bit, right? Just like I think they're working Sega. I think they are working Sega. I have no doubt in my mind. Sega can say what the fuck they want. They really can. But there is something cooking there that Xbox is trying to work on. And it'll take years if it happens. It will take years.
Yeah.
But you can see Sarah Bond likes it, where I could even guarantee, let's say we talked one time about like who follows up Phil Spencer. Let's say it is Sarah Bond, like we both speculated. Now you got someone in that seat who loves Sega. So if Phil leaves, that desire is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Not going anywhere.
Like I said, it's one of those things where if it does happen, we'll be back here on the Dukes like, I wonder who said that. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Halo coming in hot. We got abused. But it's okay. We'll take it. You know, let's
We're in
see
the
what
public eye.
happens.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. The confidence.
Dirty Flint has a really interesting write in here. Hello,
Let's
Duke,
get it.
Matty, and Lord Cog. I need help settling a debate. Who's the most well-known game developer? My friend says it's Kojima, but I just can't shake Todd Howard due to his meme status. Can the Duke settle it for us?
Wow.
Right? I wonder sometimes if could you show someone a picture of Todd Howard and they'd that's where my head went. Can you show someone a picture of Todd Howard and they know it's Todd? Can you show them Kojima and they're like, yeah, it's Kojima. Like, are any of these game developers recognizable enough at all? Like, I think if I showed some random dude on the street, do you know who this is? And it's a picture of Phil Spencer, I'd be like, who the fuck is that? Who's this old man, Jim Ryan?
Yeah, fact. I think, definitely hardcore gamers probably exaggerate a little bit, but this is a great question. I love that you picked this question. I love that Dirty Flint made the question. I thought about it. I was like, my gut initially wanted to say, actually, before I say the answer there, I want to give an honorable mention.
Okay.
To, even though this is Duke, Miyamoto, he's been outside back in the day. Maybe not as active as more as he used to, but he was that dude at one point.
Yeah.
He was up there, one of those guys that had the title. But I gotta say, I love Todd, but I think it is Kojima, man. I think it is Kojima. Let me tell you why. Because Todd is the guy, and Todd probably has the better catalog. Let's be real. Todd got the most glorious brown leather jacket I love to see when he comes on stage. You know what I'm saying? I love God Howard. That's the guy. I'm a Todd guy. I'll just be honest. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I love Kojima what he's done.
Todd guy.
Yeah, like just give me some time. Pause. But at the end of the day, I think that is Kojima. He's just he's a rock star. He just is. He has the it. I know you don't like this because I see your face. I see it.
No, I'm listening. I'm just listening.
Let me tell you why. Like, listen, Jeff stopped heaven and earth for this man.
But Jeff
to come on,
is obsessed with that.
Is obsessed, right? Okay, so, but even without Jeff, I see the way one of my writers, oh my God, they Swat and his wife Panda, they used to write for Laws of Game. She would go crazy. Like, I see Kojima fans go, oh my God, right. PT is out on the store. Like, oh my God. Like, it's a different thing because, and then I think what it is too, it's the, he is Japanese, but with the Western kind of influence. And then when you get Guillermo del Toro, you get the guy that plays Daryl Dixon from Walk. You get all these major pop culture people that want to rock with you. Like that says something. And let's be real, this man want to make movies. He want to be a movie star. He likes it. You know what I'm saying? So I, as much as I like Todd better, and I think Todd's resume is way better. Like, that's just me. I think. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dirty. I might go with your boy, Dirty Flint. I might go with your boy, but sell me. So I know Matty don't like me right now. Let me hear why. Let me hear why I'm wrong, Matty. Tell me why I'm wrong.
So I don't even say you're wrong. I think. Yeah. Okay. So I think there's a lot of fair things to say why Kojima is as popular as he is, but I feel like I'm with Dirty Flint on the idea that the meme status does bring Todd Howard to a new level. Right? Like, I think Todd also has the it factor, but I think Todd, you could use him in the internet conversations as a reaction photo. And because of that, you see him a lot more, and you see Kojima, who just like posts a picture of like his iPhone and goes like, I am sad today, with like a song he's listening to. And I'm like, Kojima, come on, man. Like, stop. Stop, bro.
It's the God. Sell me on it. Sell me. Let me see what he is.
I think his games especially bring him to that status to me. Like, just, resume. Elder Scrolls. All right. I'm not going to say Fallout, even though
you can literally just throw Elder Scrolls down. I mean, and almost walk away.
Yeah.
You almost could walk.
That's kind of what I'm doing here. I throw down Skyrim. I don't even throw down Elder Scrolls. I throw down Skyrim, and even the most casual consumer goes like, "Yo, it's another version of Skyrim." And Todd sits there and like pumps the jacket a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, it is."
It is. And I feel like in general, it's hard to tell in our group, right? Like the hardcore gamer.
The core,
You can't really say what's more recognizable because if you know one, I think you know the other, right? Like they are absolutely both icons. Yes. But I think I'll give you this though. This is why I think Kojima would probably edge him out.
Let's go.
Todd has no social media presence. Man's an anomaly. He's an anomaly until he hits the stage, but that means he is a rare commodity. And when he shows up, everyone's listening. Kojima, he talks a lot. Let's be real, and that's fine.
He does.
I talk a lot.
He does.
But Todd, when he speaks, those interviews go all over the place. I listen. I don't know a man whose interviews I listen to as thoroughly as Todd Howard's. And I can't say the same for Kojima or really anyone in this industry. I know people would say it's because I'm obsessed with Todd, but I just think he's a brilliant guy. Like the way
he's super brilliant.
He breaks down, because I think like Kojima, like it's a new genre, it's a strand game, and just the way Todd elegantly breaks down game development, even if like we got the 16 times the detail. I do think that the way he is the only person I've heard speak about game development where as I work in it, he puts things into clarity that no one else I've listened to has before. He's a visionary in a lot of ways, in my opinion.
Yes.
And that ability to simplify it enough for me, new guy, to get it is incredible. So that's personal bias, though. I just think on a meme status, he's more recognizable. I respect Skyrim. Skyrim and I walk away. Skyrim and I walk away.
Listen, resume, I'm never going to go there. I just pop culture, man. Don't sleep on Kojima.
Right.
Listen,
we'll see what happens when he drops his stupid movie.
We'll see what happens at the Game Awards.
Yeah, maybe. I heard Jeff saying that he didn't have a good feeling about that, so I don't know. I feel really good about your prediction. I feel like it makes too much sense. Like Jeff saying, there's 4 to 5 Elden Ring reveals. Here we are in this little time capsule, right? Like
we're in a time capsule now after we die. Yeah, so keep in mind, this is the time capsule of speculating before we actually talk about what happened. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, this will be interesting for the audience, I think. But I feel like you should be right about that one. I'm going to say in the future, Cog, God damn it, Kojima should have been there. That's my prediction. Damn it, he should have been there.
Let's go. I cannot wait.
All right, let's move on to, this is a name, man. Black Magic Fuckery, the Bussy Butcher.
What's up with you, man?
What's up, my barely legal super squad dude bros? Halo Infinite single player reviews seem to ring to the exact same note that the multiplayer did for many for us. That being thus, the core gameplay itself is polished and very fun, but everything else is a bit lacking. I can't be the only one strangely optimistic about this. If appalled by my own lack of standards, does it say more about 343 or about the general state of AAA game development that, quote, it's actually fun and it actually works, end quote, is enough to get me excited? Perhaps our expensive hobby has given us all Stockholm Syndrome, or perhaps that happened long ago and we're only just noticing. Regardless, keep fucking that farm animal of your choice.
Good question, man. Shout out to Black Magic Factory.
Yeah.
Look, man. There's some validity here, but I think we got to look at the proper context. It is valid to be like, okay, yo, what's up with the standards? And, you're hearing about 2/3 of the game. I get it. That's legitimate. I've seen people like, yo, downgrade, bro. I've seen it, certain things. Okay, fine. However, I think the reason why it's getting what it's getting and is being showered is, let's be real. We didn't think this thing was really going to land well.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things that when you play it, you go, oh, okay, this is actually fun indeed. Like, I remember coming into it, like, the first couple of levels, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It threw me off because based on the history and then what we just saw them fumble a year ago, right? We had this catastrophic fumble. So, and let's be honest, historically, you know what I think about? Like a crackdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go,
that's a good point. That's like,
you know what I'm saying? You
expected it, and it was exactly that.
It was exactly what we saw. We saw the journalists play it. I mean, not the journalists, the celebrities playing it.
I forgot.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Randall Thor, the homie. He got crucified for telling the truth. He was like, this is inexcusable. And he told me, some Microsoft execs, they've unfollowed him. People,
Dude,
it was bad.
I feel bad for him. Not to turn this into a personal story, but I feel bad for him because I've been there, right? Like you
know what it's like.
You lay it out, and they get like I've had it happen with Gearbox. I've had it happen with Bethesda, and the funny part is, dude, I'm not even the roughest, ruthless guy. Like I really am not. I can say that I'm very critical of things that I love, but I am definitely, I put them in a very tact, well thought out way. Now, I do not fucking crucify you if you fucked up your game, unless it's Fallout. Then I'll absolutely kick you between the legs. But
you got to get it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, you know, he went in. Shout out to Ray. He went in.
Absolutely,
you know, he admitted that he was a bit aggressive. Maybe he would have said some things a little bit better. He admitted it.
Maybe I spoke too soon.
Yeah, I mean, but for the most part, he was just dead on. And, you know, he wasn't crazy. So, yeah, like, I just think it's one of those things that we, like, okay, you know what? This ain't going to be it. You know, you're probably going to get a decent multiplayer, but that campaign is not going to be it. And when the campaign is like, yo, not only is it solid, it's above average, it's really good. Like, now it's like, I think that's where the shift really started. So I think that's what it is too. But what do you think?
I think it's fair to say that a lot of people with their low expectations, it was easy to surpass. So I think a lot of people liked it more than they thought. You know, I think there is something to be said that when people are giving it like 5 out of 5s, 9 out of 10s, 9.25s, I saw, which I don't know how we get that plus quarter. I don't know how you get 2.5. Like what happened with that's why I hate number scores. It's a 9, but 9.25 now. Like I'm 75% away from a 10 out of 10. It's like, what does this mean, man? Just drop number scores, please, and just tell us people if they're going to buy the game or not. Yeah, I think with the low expectations, though, it definitely helped this game a lot. And we knew that this game was ready early because we got it super early. Like they gave us a build to play this game weeks and weeks in advance. So they took the time that they needed to finish and land the product and release it. And that was one of the main reasons why we were feeling pretty confident about the multiplayer, because the multiplayer, it's like, well, the single player is ready. Multiplayer's got to be ready. Gotta be. That already felt really good. We don't know about the campaign. We knew those trailers were missing, though. There was not a good feeling for a while.
Correct.
So yeah, it's really, really one of those situations where I think Black Magic is in the right that standards need to be upped. I think AAA game development, I expect less even. I'm guilty of it. Just because, you know, so often they hit the same beats on the road that it's very familiar. Again, I think it's why I start to favor Japanese games a little bit over time, because something like Tales of Arise getting a budget was a big moment, right? And you see that all the time in AAA development, and they hit those familiar beats. It's why I'm very excited for Hellblade too. It's like you got creatives making Hellblade, which is like mental health driven game with action elements, and it's like, okay, what are they going to do with a budget now? Like that's what's exciting to me. But I'm getting off track here.
No, you're good.
I think it does say more about the general state of game development than it does really 343.
It's a good point. Valid point. I like that.
All right, we got Neo JD with a question for Cog. Sup, Double D's. I got to hear about how Cog went from being skeptical of VR to now working for Oculus. Talk about a turnaround, Cog. I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I remember when I saw it, I was like, yeah, he did say like, VR, I don't know, but you played it and then you liked it. I remember that. So let's get into that story a little bit, the transformation of Cog himself.
So, that box in the back, the Oculus box right there. Salute to them. But look, here's the thing. I'm gonna be brutally honest, right? This is one of them situations where I was just never a guy that thought I would ever play it. I was like, VR is not for me. I'd clown VR viciously. Like if you remember, there was a Time magazine article, and it had one of the famous VR guys. He had the headset. He had his hands spread out like this. He's bare feet. And I'm like, no, that is not what gaming needs to go. Like that, I was that guy, right? So let's be clear. I want to be full transparency. So I love this question, Neil. What had happened for me is my experiences initial were like on a Samsung Gear.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something very rudimentary, you know, kind of thing. And I was just like, this is not that impressive. And I just didn't see me utilizing the controller. I mean, using that over the traditional controller. Right. And like I said, how it came for me was just that, bro,
you played it.
You know, I played it. I got a shout out the homie, Bill Stillwell, former Microsoft lifer. He went over there. I'm like, yo, why you went over there? And Bill's the type of guy that he likes to, like an inventor.
Mm-hmm.
Inventors, they like to be challenged, right? So it was like, yo, I made back compat, I conquered that.
Mm-hmm.
I made xCloud, I conquered that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's the next thing, right? And I'm like, VR though? I'm like, I don't know, fam. He's like, try it. I was like, and I had to put my money in my mouth. I'm talking all this talk, but I ain't playing.
Yep. You're not an Xbox fan, right? You gotta just pay up.
You gotta, so I said, you know what? You're right. And someone else, I think, Ryan, Half-Life Alyx, Game of the Year. People tell me, Game of the Year, have a VR game? No. like I just didn't want to hear the snob. A VR, what? Like, I was that guy. And then I threw it on. Bro, it hit me the first 5 minutes, just putting it on, having the transparency at first to even create a boundary in your room.
Yeah.
So that you make sure, okay, I'm not going to hit this object. I'm not going to hit that object. Yeah. You can even have it with things that are, so cool. You can make it visible. So cool. And then it was literally the demo, bro. And they give you a workbench, a bench. You sit there, you get cubes, you get things you can manipulate. And then it was like a thing with a blimp, a toy blimp, and I'm floating this thing around the room. Then you can have the toy guns. I'm like, yo, I'm in this physical space. And then like it just went on. And then Half-Life Alyx, brother. You got to try that. You got to try Low Echo. Yeah, you got to try Star Wars thing. Then they showed me in the educational space. I told you about there's one called Traveling While Black. It put me in tears. If I was a kid that I hated going to the museums, I would play that and be like, wow, I'd learned so much. And you look at your hands, no matter what ethnicity you are, and it showed you the hands of a black man and what it was like in 1950. And this, bro, it was just like mind-boggling stuff. They have stuff they have to improve on. Is the journey still complete? No. And hopefully what I'm doing there is to try to set some things straight and get rid of, for Matty, Facebook's requirement.
That's what I'm there for. I'll be shaking your hand as that arrives.
Bro, and that's my goal. My goal is you got to get the guy like me, the guy like Matty, who is like, yo, I like y'all, but I'm not trying to do that. I want Matty separated from G27 stat. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you want it to be two, and they understand. And you know me, I'm going to tell it how it is. So it's a blessing. But yeah, thank you for the question. Absolutely. Thank y'all for the kind words. I want to just say this one thing, but because like it really got me emotional, and I literally sat and I went through every comment, and just was like, wow, dude, people were truly happy for me, and I teared up. Bro, it was super emotional for me. Like I come from the South, bros. I came from nothing, bro. I never thought a dream would be to get in the industry. So for me, it meant a lot. And thank everybody for the kind words. And thank y'all for saying, yo, you're not leaving Duke, right? Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm not leaving Duke. They're like, okay, cool. Congratulations.
You're like, Duke will continue. Iron Lord podcast I had to continue. Like you were like, it was like the Mass Effect will continue.
Bro, I had to let my people know I'm not going nowhere. I love doing this. And shout out to you, you know what I'm saying, for letting me have that time. Shout out to Colin, we talked about it earlier, because I just wanted to make sure no conflict of interest of what we're doing. We both agree. It's all good. And yeah, man, Cog's still here to stay. And I'm going to be trying to pioneer stuff in that space as well.
Absolutely. Last question from RJ Davis. Hey, Dukes, if you could have anyone do a voice for one of the AI companions in Halo Infinite, within or outside of the Halo universe, who would it be? Personally, I'd love to see Nathan Fillion reprise his role as Buck, or maybe 343 gets Peter Dinklage to come back and do what Bungie couldn't with his infamous ghost character. What are you guys' thoughts? Thanks. Can you take me back in time a little bit? Because I remember seeing they replaced, I think, the original ghost or whatever it was with Peter Dinklage. And was that like a train wreck? I don't remember. I just recall, like, was it because he was boring? What did he do wrong?
Yeah, look, Dinklage. This is a serious divide in the Destiny community. There's the Dinklebot people, and then there's
like him, okay.
Yeah, there's the Northbot or whatever. Peter. Look, Peter Dinklage was doing Game of Thrones at the same time. In his defense, some of these lifeless lines, it's just so good. There's a wizard on the moon. And you're like, no,
You just
bro, I'm
read
not.
it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It was just, it just didn't hit. And it was people that say they like Dagobah. It was a pun. It was a joke. It was this bad thing that it was just like, I don't want to say he mailed it in, but it's to his friends. Destiny's story and narrative was all over the place. He didn't, they didn't even know what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to probably the best he can with this, patchwork story.
Yeah.
And he's trying, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, he's on at the same time, Game of Thrones, 2014 was popping. Like he's in, you know what I'm saying? So I'll give him a pass, but it wasn't one of his best performances. Yeah, at all.
Yeah,
So
I just remember seeing that all over the place. And again, I'm not a Destiny player, never have been. So I just remember seeing that and going, oh, wow, Peter Dinklage?
Yeah.
Of all people? Really? Like, it seemed like a great match.
Yeah, you would think so. It didn't work. But I got the answer for this one.
Okay.
This is a dream. I doubt it because I think he's a little too loose. But, bro, if they could get your man from Sam Jackson.
Oh.
If you had Sam Jackson as an AI Spartan, and I would strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious. like if he did the Pulp Fiction, like, bro.
I like that pick. That's a really good one.
Sam Jackson would be, get over there, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, they would have to censor him, but, bro, that would be I think
that would be incredible. How do I?
Incredible.
That would be so good.
What? Sam Jackson. This is a monetization dream if they pick the right voice actors and personalities and like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like you could go crazy with this, right? Like you really could. But yeah, like what you got, man? Like I think it's so many choices you could do.
I was thinking about Marcus Phoenix a little bit. I don't know why. Just his intensity would be kind of fun in contrast to what is happening there. And I'm thinking, like, you got to pick something from the Xbox community, right? Like as a guest character. At first, my head was like a Sergeant Johnson. But I'm like, who the hell hasn't said that at this point?
Of course, whoever.
Right? Like he's got to be there. I gotta be shocked they didn't. So
yes,
I think I'd like a little Marcus Phoenix. I think I'd be okay with that. If they really want to do like a whole Xbox tie-in package and they could do like the guards from Oblivion, like stop right there, prisoner. Like, yeah. Like just turn those lines into stuff for Halo play-by-play commentary. Yes. Oh my gosh, man.
Who's your current AI right now that you use?
The woman. I forget her name. Yeah, I had the one that was voiced by Robbie Damon, who's like, thank God for that sidearm. But I was like, dude, I love Robbie Damon, excellent talent, but man, that was terrible.
No, you don't like my man Fred. I love Fred. No, Fred love.
No, Fred needs to shut the fuck up, like, as far as I'm concerned.
Fred was getting on your nerves?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, dude, just this squeaky dude in my ear, just a JRPG character in my ear while I'm playing Halo, not working for me.
He's like, it's not working. Get him out of there. I feel you. I thought you might be like a butler dude. I
was a butler dude for a while, but then I was like, butler also was almost like, it's funny because I said Marcus Phoenix, but that would be like the novelty of it. But Butler was also a little intrusive for me. I needed what I love about Steitzer's, like double kill, triple kill. It's a part of the experience, of course, but it also rests in the background easily, so it's not distracting. And if anything, it's just motivating. Where like the play-by-play of like incoming power weapons. If it's too like, it just really gets me, right? And so even the butler, he's like, it seemed off. And so the woman really, she had that, she did like the fun stuff that I thought was fun, that I thought was really added to it. Like if I hit like
some bars, I never used it.
Oh, really? So you hit like a grapple shot and you pull yourself and she's like, woo, like that. And she's like zipping along with you almost. I like that. To me, that kind of companionship, that works really well. She says something when you Kong people, like you throw the fusion coils at them and you nail them. Like I forgot what it was she said, but I felt like she had the most subtle quirks that were just like I smiled every time, right? So she's been ride or die right now until I unlock the new one in the Battle Pass in like 8 years. So
of course, you already know.
Those are all the questions though for this episode of Defining Duke. We hope you all enjoyed. our heavily stitched together episode, I imagine, as we will have to make some adjustments come the release of this episode. We thank you all so much for supporting us enough to be able to do something like that, move the recording time, adjust for all of you. And we're really looking forward to seeing, I was about to say we're looking forward to seeing what the Game Awards has, but we'll know by this point in time.
We'll know by this point. Yeah.
It was a good or bad time, man. Let me tell you what.
It was a good or bad time. Yeah. We got all that good stuff.
We got everything we wanted. We got absolutely nothing.
I like that.
So our hashtag, it's interesting. Normally we pick like a highlight, right?
Yeah.
Cog, I wanted to make this about you. Are we permitted to do Oculus DD? Do you think that would be all right?
I think we could do it.
All right,
yeah, we
cool.
can do it.
All right, let's do a little Oculus DD. Support my man here at Lord Cognito over on Twitter. Feel free to tag me if you'd like at G27 status.
Yes, please.
If you're not on Twitter, comments work fine. Patreon comments work fine. We just want to know that you finished this episode. But with all of that, Cog, any final words, or shall we wrap this one up?
Again, fantastic week. Again, thank everybody for the kind words. I read every comment. I read everything. I try to respond as much as I can. Thank you for the retweet.
Oh, of course.
That was so dope. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for these Game Awards. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm excited. We got a ton of content coming for y'all.
And we got a ton of rest coming up.
We got rest. We're going to need much needed rest after this week that we're putting it in for y'all. But the whole Last Stand Media team is putting it down. We're putting in that overtime right now. But you guys are going to love. I love one of the shows that we did on Sunday.
Yes, really good.
Yeah, I ain't going to say what it is, but that one, I really like that. And we got stuff cooking. So rock with us, man. For the holidays, y'all going to get treats.
Yeah. Santa's not arriving. We are. So
yes, we are arriving.
Keep it locked.
Yeah, what about you, man?
No, I'm just, I'm at a point where I'm just kind of looking forward to unplugging and, because that's the thing is, I've felt I've been in need of it just to reorganize the schedule and get myself into a healthier position where I feel really fresh for everything I'm doing. Obviously that's optimal, but I do think some restructuring is needed on my end. So I'm going to work on that. And I think some time off to just, reset button's been hit is really needed, because the only time I can get time off is when I work on stuff in advance, but I'm setting up a new framework to make that more possible. So I'm not as always stressed. And I'm just really looking forward to that. And of course, the content we're putting out, I'm with you, man. Like, that episode we recorded, it'll be the first holiday episode, our episode 51 of Defining Duke. I'm really, really happy with it. I'm glad you are too, because I think it's a really fun conversation, and it's going to be perfectly timed for the holiday season. So keep an eye out on that one. And other than that, I have nothing left to say, man.
That's it, man. We good.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Hashtag Oculus DD. Again, fire away. And with that, we'll see you all next week for episode 50 of Defining Duke. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.